97.3 ESPN, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on a happy hour Friday edition on 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Glad to have you guys on board the show today. We got a busy day coming up for you. We got a prize giveaway that we give out the next hour, so keep your ear open for that momentarily. Plus, busy lineup. Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City at 2:25. Chris Franklin from NG Advanced Media at 3 p.m. NFL insider Adam Capp at 4. NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson at 4:30. And NFL podcaster Andy McNamara at 5 p.m. It's basically an expanded version of game night here on the Sports Cast on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get you the latest on the Eagles' offensive coordinator coaching search. A little news popping off a little bit earlier today on that front. Also, we will be talking about the Sixers heading into the weekend. I thought last night's game for the Sixers was very symbolic of the reason why they have to make a trade before the deadline. I've heard some people try to argue that they shouldn't make a deal. I'm going to tell you why what I saw last night confirms how I feel about that. Also, we will get into the NFL wild card weekend. Of course, if you catch me each week on game night or you hear the six pack of picks here on 97.3 ESPN each Friday afternoon, we did go 6-3 on last weekend's NFL weekend picks. So we'll try to give you some picks a little bit later in the show. The text board is open, 609-403-0973. You want that number because Happy Hour Friday giveaway. We don't just want your drinking choices, what you're doing this weekend. No, I want to know from you guys, do you want tickets? Yes, we are giving away 4 packs of tickets to tomorrow night's Philadelphia Wings game. It's more than just a normal game. It is also going to have not one, but 2 concert performances before the game and at halftime. It is emo night for the Philadelphia Wings, a popular night for them each year. And this is pretty cool because South Jersey's own Jersey Calling will be performing in the East Food Hall pregame. And at halftime, popular Bucks County band, the starting line, will be on the turf level in the party zone. So not one, but 2 concerts. So this is a great opportunity. Listen, go watch some musical performances. Take your family, take your friends. It's a great opportunity to go out with the family this weekend. And guess what? It's not like there's any Eagles to keep you from going out this weekend. So here's the deal. If you want to go to the Philadelphia Wings game tomorrow night, you got to text it at 609-403-0973. These 4 packs cover the whole night, the 2 concerts and the Wings game. Send in your name and your email address. We will email you directly the tickets that come from the Wells Fargo Center. So 609-403-0973. Your name, your email address, and let us know what you're drinking this weekend. Or you can just text in your thoughts throughout the show, what you're consuming this weekend, your drinking recommendations. You know that even though Mike Gill is strictly an IPA guy, I am more of a diversified palate. So whether you are someone who likes different types of beers, whether you're someone who likes anything, tell us what you're drinking this weekend, what you're consuming, what you're up to this weekend. And also, if you want the tickets, 609-403-0973. Philadelphia Wings tomorrow night, 2 concerts on site, and a 4-pack of tickets. Send your name, your email address. It will get you in qualified for that giveaway contest. All right. So now that we got that set up for you for the day, I told you there was a huge takeaway I had. I'll get to the Eagles news in just a bit. I had a huge takeaway from the Sixers game last night. And I know that historically, we have always been told you can't overreact to one game. But I thought last night was a overlap for me of a bigger issue for the Sixers have had this year. To me, it is very obvious that this team does not have enough firepower. Last night, you saw a team that did not have Tyrese Halliburton. In fact, Tyrese Halliburton looked like he was starring for a movie or something, the way he was dressed on the sidelines, but I digress. Last night, you saw why a team like the 76ers don't have enough. Joel Embiid still scored more than 31 points last night. Joel Embiid did his job. In fact, Embiid only had 2 turnovers. He actually had a very efficient night. The problem is his teammates couldn't keep up. And for as much as I love Tyrese Maxey, it's becoming very clear that Maxey is a streaky scorer. Maxey is a lot more. He's a lot more like a Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson type of scorer. When he is on, he is unstoppable. But last night he went 1 for 8. And it really concerned me that without Tobias Harris, the Sixers had trouble scoring last night. They shot horribly from three-point range. And a Pacers team without their best player, Tyrese Halliburton, but who had added an all-star in his own right, Pascal Siakam, they were more than ready for the task at hand. And I talked to Austin Crowell, Sixers insider from 97.3 ESPN.com last night on game night here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday. He mentioned how the Pacers are much better equipped to slow down Embiid than the Spurs are. And you saw it last night. Embiid still got his 30, but Embiid, you know how many assists he had last night? 3. You know he's averaging on the year? Almost 6. They neutralized Embiid's ability to get his teammates involved in the game. So while Embiid got his 30, Maxey went 1 for 8 from 3. Beverly was 0 for 3 from 3. The only guy in the starting lineup was actually good from 3 was Batum. He was 2 for 3. But you can't depend on Nicholas Batum in a playoff game. And Batum only played 22 minutes last night. I like KJ Martin as a role player, but you saw him way too much last night. And without Tobias Harris, it was very obvious that this team does not have enough. And it wasn't just last night's game. There have been other games that have been concerning for me. You go back to the last time they lost before last night, that Hawks game in overtime. They were out of gas in that overtime. They just didn't have enough juice. And that was a game with Tobias and Maxey and Melton, but no Embiid. A team in Atlanta who has no cohesiveness, struggling to find their way, playing the game in Atlanta. You had a chance to win. You couldn't get the job done because you don't have enough. Maxey had 35 points in the game. Again, another game where the best player on the floor, Maxey in that game, and Embiid last night, they get 30-plus points. The team still loses. Why? Because you don't have enough firepower. You don't have enough ammunition. This team is a very good regular season team that's going to help you win a lot of games. As of right now, the 76ers are on pace to win over 50 games this season. But that's not going to do you any good in the playoffs. Now, look, we can debate until the end of the day who they should or shouldn't acquire. But I'm telling you guys right now, they have to acquire somebody. Because as currently constructed, this team cannot go for a 7-game series against the best teams in the East. And I am not going to take Doc Rivers and his inability to get out of the second round for granted. I am going to stand pat and say, I am concerned. And this stretch coming up, you are on a long road trip here. Tomorrow in Denver, Monday in Portland, very next night, travel down the coast to play the Warriors. 2 days later, you got to go into the elements above sea level in Utah. This is going to be a long road trip. If this team struggles at any point moving forward in this road trip, it's going to make their need to improve this roster, to me, even more obvious. You can win a lot of games because of Joel Embiid. And just because he's the front runner for MVP, you shouldn't ask him to do everything. We have already seen in NBA history what happens when you ask a star player to carry you. He can only get you so far. Michael Jordan needed multiple players around him and Phil Jackson to win a championship. Kobe needed either Shaq or Pau Gasol and Phil Jackson to win a championship. And I'm not saying Nick Nurse is Phil Jackson, but I think Nick Nurse has brought out the best in Embiid so far this year. But I don't think Nick Nurse, Embiid, and Maxey and Harris are enough. They need one more guy. And as we inch closer and closer to the trade deadline, we are no longer a month or two away. We're no longer several weeks away. No, we are within eyeshot of that date. We are several days away from the deadline. That deadline is less than 2 weeks away. You got to be sure, if you're the Sixers, that you walk out of this deadline with somebody who is going to allow you to not ask Embiid, Maxey, and Harris to be perfect every night. You need somebody who is going to help you overcome the nights when the rest of the roster are not up to snuff. You need someone who is going to help you overcome if Embiid gets in the foul trouble, if Maxey goes cold from shooting, if Harris has a bad day at the office. When you are a team like the Sixers, who have higher aspirations than winning a playoff series, we talk about how there's a window, right, for athletes to win a championship. If you are the 76ers, do not waste this moment. Joel Embiid is playing better than we've ever seen him play. Tyrese Maxey is an ascending star player. And frankly, Tobias Harris hasn't played this well in about 2-3 years. And you're just going to go into the postseason and hope for the best with Nicholas Batum and DeAnthony Melton and Robert Covington and Paul Reed and Pat Beverly? Those are all some really good role players. But they're not the guy you turn to in crunch time and say, we need another guy to shoot. Every championship team has that guy who's an elite role player. Back in the day, the Lakers had Robert Horry. The Bulls had guys like PJ Armstrong and Steve Kerr and Ron Harper. The Spurs for years, who do they have? Bruce Bowen. And there were other guys too, like Brent Barry. But the point is that you can name someone or two from every championship team who was that high-level role player. Because there's going to come a night in the postseason when Embiid might be having a great night, but Maxey goes cold. Or Embiid goes cold and Maxey's having a great night. And Tobias Harris just having a steady night. You need one more guy that when you whip the ball around the outside of the key that can catch and make a bucket. And whether that someone is, let's say, DeMar DeRozan, or someone is Malcolm Brogdon, or whoever you want to name, you got to get somebody. Because as of here, right now, you are not good enough. You saw what happened to the Eagles when they were close but not there. They fell apart. You have seen what has happened in this city when teams are this close and they don't have enough ammunition. They can't get over the hump. And Daryl Morey, if he is serious about winning a championship, he has to put this team in a position to get over the hump. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. Also your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. I'm going to get some of your guys' text before we hit the break. Don't forget Mike Gary's joining us in about a little bit less than 10 minutes from now. Of course, keep your text coming in. If you want to go to the Wings game tomorrow night, I need your name, your email address, and just let me know what you're consuming this weekend. You know, like, for example, I have a texter who just texted in. He didn't leave his name, but he wants to get on the Wings tickets. He says he's got Miller Lite's, Beck's non-alcohol, and Red Bull this weekend. Okay, I am out on the Red Bull. I am not an energy drink guy. I do draw the line there. Miller Lite, solid, good choice for you. But you can keep the Red Bull all for yourself in your fridge. I am not rolling down that way. Andrew, I got your entry, so you will be in there. So Andrew's the first person to follow the instructions so far. So texter who texted about Miller Lite, please send us your name if you want to qualify for the contest. David Violent chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says, with a good amount of salary cap available, who or what type of players do you think the Sixers will target at the deadline? As I said, I think it's a high level role player. It's somebody who maybe at one point was a all-star caliber player maybe and is no longer that guy, or it's somebody, you know, like, for example, I know Alex Caruso and DeMar DeRozan are guys that have been brought up in Chicago. Both of them I have interest in. The problem with some of the guys who I am interested in around the league, I don't know if they're all available. I thought Austin Crowell brought up two names last night. Both Bogdanoviches, Bojan and Bogdanovich. Both of them, Hawks and Pistons, make a lot of sense to me. Those are the kind of guys I love seeing in the Sixers uniform. Either one of them, someone who can catch and shoot, someone who can get some rebounds, take the pressure off of Embiid, Maxey, and Harris to be perfect. Someone who could be that fourth player. I think either Bogdanovich would be very good in that role, David and Violent. As to the Carter Hart question, look, there's a lot of conjecture out there, and I'll follow up on what I said on, Tuesday's game night here on 97.3 ESPN. I think that whatever's going on with Carter Hart, and I don't want to make any broad statements about his future, but whatever is going to happen with him, the Flyers got to play on the ice as if he might not be back anytime soon. I think the Hart situation with the legal stuff going on with the Canadian World Hockey Team from 2018, from the allegations that are out there to a lot of the ups and downs of Carter Hart's career, right? I think there's a lot to Carter Hart that we don't know all the facts about. And I think that if Carter Hart can come back and be the franchise caliber goaltender, that'd be great. But as of right now, you got to play like he is unavailable. And I think that you saw last night versus the Red Wings what happens when you have a goaltender who is comfortable in his space. Former Flyers goaltender Alex Lyon had an amazing game for Detroit last night. And I think that the Flyers got to put Ersan and whoever his backup might be from night to night, whether it's Peterson or whether it's Samstrom. They got to put any of these goaltenders in a position to feel like, look, Carter Hart's not walking through that door, man. We need you to do your job. And if you can't do your job, we'll go find somebody else. But we're going to put you in the best position to be successful. And frankly, if Carter Hart cannot get to what he was before all this stuff started happening, then you need to trade him. And no texter, Furkan Korkmaz, anonymous texter at 609-403-0970. Furkan Korkmaz is not good enough for the Sixers. If you think Furkan Korkmaz is good enough for the Sixers, you're playing too much NBA 2K. Or you have a personal stock investment in Furkan Korkmaz. I'm Josh Hennig, filling for Mike Gill. Happy Hour Friday here on 97.3 ESPN. Keep your text coming in. If you want to get 4-pack of tickets, Wings tomorrow night at the Wells Fargo Center, we need your name and email address. The 4-pack doesn't just get you in for the game, but gets you to both concerts, pregame and halftime at Wells Fargo Center tomorrow night. 609-403-0973. Keep messages coming in. Your thoughts on the Sixers, the Eagles. Happy Hour Friday. What are your regular recommendations for the weekend? Mike McGarry next here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on a Friday afternoon.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local restaurants.
Beach Buns Bakery in Northfield. Fresh and delicious baked goods. Online at beachbunsbakerynj.com. Trio North Wildwood. Chef-driven, quality-focused, bridging the gap between bar food and fine dining. TrioNW.com. The 20s Italian Restaurant at their store at Claridge, Atlantic City. Visit Claridge.com. Jester's Dive Bar, celebrating their 1-year anniversary. You have to check out Jester's in Rio Grande, where you will enjoy handcrafted selection of shareable plates, including burgers, wings, sandwiches, and daily specials. Watch your favorite NFL team on plenty of HD TVs. Check their website at jestersdivebar.com for their full schedule of live music.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
Winter is here, and in South Jersey, that means the cold winds are a-blowing. Whether you need a brand new roof or the gusts off the ocean blew off some shingles, Sea Point Roofing and Siding is here to help. Their expert team ensures that you and your home stay warm and dry, but you won't just get a secure roof, you'll get peace of mind. Sea Point Roofing and Siding is South Jersey's premier roofing company where dependability meets excellence. Visit them at seapointroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate estimate.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. Whether it's a 99-yard pass to score a touchdown or a fumble in the first minute of the game. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
Get this feeling inside. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Feeling for the first time. So breathe, so alive. Breathe happy for 3 hours, life paradise.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
It's a new year everywhere, but at Bennett Chevrolet, some things don't change because there's still no beating Bennett. That's right. Bennett Chevy kicks off 2024 just like every other year with the best deals anywhere on new and pre-owned vehicles. You still pay what our GM supplier employees pay, not a penny more. Plus, you keep all the rebates. Unlike many dealers that give you either or, Bennett gives you both. The GM supplier employee price plus all the rebates. And you save even more with Bennett's available 1.9% financing. Looking for used? Get an astounding $8,000 minimum for any old clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $8,000 for total junk. So imagine how much Bennett pays for a good trade. And Bennett still offers the best buying experience in the business with a sales team paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Imagine that. Salespeople with your best interest in mind. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If you're making the minimum payments, but your balance is just not going down, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it will take years to get out of debt, call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 5 million people. They can consolidate your debts into one lower payment, reduce your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. If you're struggling with credit card debt, call Consolidated Credit now.
Call now, 800-552-6750. That's 800-552-6750. 800-552-6750.
Consolidated Credit Counseling Services Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Not a loan company licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 19, Oregon DM 80031. Licensed by Virginia State Corporation. Commission licensed number DC 32. Establishment of a plan may adversely affect the individual's credit rating or credit scores. Non-payment of debt may be creditors to increase financial charges or collections activity, including litigation.
Happy New Year from Broadley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. As energy prices rise, don't pay more than you should to heat your home this winter. Broadley's can help you save long-term by upgrading to more efficient equipment. Now with 0% financing and rebates up to $1,500. Need heater service or repairs? Mention our first-time customer special for $25 off. And as a factory-authorized Bryant dealer, Broadley's does whatever it takes for your comfort. So give them a call today at 609-390-3907.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97 ESPN and the free
2:30 on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. We'll continue the Sixers conversation right now and tap on a few of the topics with Mike Gill from the Press of Atlantic City. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Mike Gary, welcome back in. How you doing on this Friday afternoon?
Hey, Josh, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let me start with this because I said before you came on about how, to me, last night was another example why this team has to make a move before the deadline. Because, Mike, to me, They just don't have enough firepower. Embiid goes for 31 last night, and it wasn't enough because Maxey was cold, because Tobias was out injured. You can't depend on Maxey, Harris, and Embiid all having a great night every night in the postseason.
Yeah, and also take a look around the Eastern Conference too. Everybody is kind of stepping up their game a little bit. Now you can debate what the Milwaukee Bucks have done, but obviously they took a look at their record, even though they're the number 2 seed in the East, decided with Adrian Griffin they weren't going to go anywhere in the playoffs until they went to Doc Rivers. Now you can say that, is that a positive addition or a negative addition? Who knows? But the Bucks are not standing still. That's the point. The Knicks have made a move, picking up Anunoby, and they've just been on fire since they got him. I mean, I think they beat the Denver Nuggets last night by 30 points, and they're playing great. The Indiana Pacers made a move, right? They got Siakam, so they're not standing still. The Miami Heat made a move, right? They got Rozier. The Boston Celtics haven't made a move yet, but they probably got the strongest starting lineup out of any team in the East. So if the Sixers take a look around, it's almost like if you're not making a move and standing still, you're falling behind because everybody else, it seems to aggressively be going for it.
A lot of names are being thrown out there, Mike. One of the questions we had from a listener in the last segment was, is there someone that, I would prefer? Well, Mike, is there someone that you would like to see the Sixers acquire if they are serious about making a deep playoff run?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can look to the Chicago Bulls. I know a lot of people look to the Chicago Bulls and look at Zach LaVine as a guy who would come here, right? And maybe he would be a fit if he's no longer the number 1 guy. He's kind of the number 2 option or even the number 3 option. But I'll go with another guy off the Chicago Bulls, and that's DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan, I mean, some of the analytics people don't like him because he's got a mid-range game, but I think he's another offensive guy who can create a shot, and I think he fits well with Maxey and Embiid. He doesn't need the ball all that much. He can play off the ball, and he's a guy who can score for you, get you 20, 25 points in a big game, an experienced player. So I think somebody like that would fit in well with the 76ers.
Any interest in either Bogdanovich?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you almost need a more dynamic guy than that. I'm looking for a guy who can create a shot in the fourth quarter of a close game. I think Zach LaVine could do that. I think DeRozan can do that. So I really, the Bogdanovich, either one, I mean, it would be an improvement depending on who they gave up. But I think if they were able to add either of the 2 guys I mentioned before, I think that's a real improvement.
Mike Gill with the Press of Atlantic City joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN at AC Press McGarry over on the Twitter X platform. Mike, were you encouraged by what you saw from Embiid last night in that he scored 70 one night and he still got his 30 last night?
Yeah, I think Embiid is having an absolutely great season. I mean, I don't think the only question for Embiid right now is whether he's going to play the 65 games that you need to play to get the MVP. If he plays 65 games, I think he's hands down the MVP. Then the next question is he healthy for the postseason, which he's never really been? And if he is healthy for the postseason, can they get out of the second round of the playoffs? But, right now, the way he's played in the regular season, it's hard to argue that he hasn't had the best regular season of any player in the NBA. And to me, it's only a matter of whether he hits that game requirement to be the MVP. Now, does that mean, do I think he's the best player in the NBA? I still think Jokic is a better player than him, but just day in and day out, by the numbers this season, Embiid is having a wonderful, wonderful season, as good a season as anybody I've ever seen in the NBA. And it's a season that should be earn him his second straight MVP if he plays those 65 games.
When you think about Embiid, if he wins a second MVP, are we getting to the point, Mike, where when does this guy stop getting better? Because I never thought he'd be better than last year. Mike, he's better than last year. So what is his ceiling at this point? It feels like there is no ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, his ability to shoot the ball from the perimeter at his size And really, it just comes down to free throws, really. His ability to make free throws for a big man, he might be the best, free throw shooting big man I've ever seen. Imagine what Shaq would have done if Shaq could have hit 80% of his foul shots. Imagine what Wilt Chamberlain would have done if Wilt Chamberlain could shoot foul shots at like 90%. Embiid's ability as a big man to get to the foul line and then make his foul shots is really kind of what sets him apart. And like you said, he keeps getting better and better. I think he turns 30 this month. There's speculation, or 30 this year. There's speculation about, the lifespan of a big man in the NBA. You usually don't play as long as guards or small forwards, but you can't argue or have a negative thing to say about what Joel Embiid has done this season. It's impossible to be negative or even nitpick or about anything he's done this season. He's had a wonderful, wonderful season, as good a season as anybody in a Philadelphia 76er uniform has ever had.
When you think about the Sixers moving forward, what is a realistic expectation for this team if they acquire someone that we think they will? Whether you mentioned DeMar DeRozan, I mentioned a Bogdanovich, maybe there's somebody out there that we don't know about yet who might. I mean, who knows? Like next week we might wake up and some random guy might demand a trade, right? The NBA is crazy like that. It's an amazing soap opera. So whatever they get, if they get that extra player, can the Sixers go deep beyond the second round?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the goal, right? It's Eastern Conference final or bust for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think if they lose in the second round again, I think they've got some new life, right? Last year, everybody was like, hey, don't talk to me. Talk to me in May. I'm not going to get into this team until they get out of the second round of the playoffs. I'm not going to pay attention to what happens in February. I'm not going to pay attention to what happens in March, all because of that, right? But I think they've got some new life this season, A, because of the way Embiid's played, B, because of the way Maxey has played, and C, because they have a new coach, Nick Nurse. So it's almost like a new regime, a new start. So they have the benefit of the doubt right now. If they don't get out of the second round, it's going to be same old Sixers again. So I think they obviously have the ability to get out of that second round. I think if they reach the Eastern Conference final, I think that's a great season for them.
Talking Mike McGarry, the Press of Atlantic City. I want to flip it over to the Eagles for a couple of questions with you, Mike, because Vic Fangio is going to be the defensive coordinator. It seems like everyone likes Vic except for the Dolphins. So I don't know if I should be too upset that the Dolphins are mad at him, because apparently everyone else who's ever played for the guy likes him.
Yeah, and I think the pro blitz crowd may not like him either. But for the last couple of years, you've had like Vic Fangio disciples here running the Eagles defense. So why not get the real guy? And they had a chance to get the real guy last year, and things got botched up there at the last second. So getting Fangio and getting him in here, if you're going to run his defense, why not get the guy who actually, designed and invented the defense and the philosophy to run it?
Mike, when you think about him running it, there's also talk that the Eagles have to fill out the rest of the staff, which goes to the offense. And Nick Sirianni, the key word from Wednesday was fresh ideas. He said it at least 7 times from my memory. So who is a good enough offensive coordinator who's bringing fresh ideas in your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. A specific name doesn't pop to mind right away. I know Cliff Kingsbury was the guy that they kind of talked about. I think any guy that they bring in is going to have, pluses and minuses. But I think when Nick says fresh ideas, I think the offense as it is designed has probably gone as far as it can go, right? I think defenses have adjusted to it. They've taken certain things away. Now it's up for the Eagles to sort of adjust back and figure out a way to adjust back. So, I would think that's what they'll be looking for, a guy who can kind of help them get untracked or out of the, the stalemate that they were kind of in offensively.
See, I'm very high on Kingsbury because I think he is the most different of all the guys who have been talked about so far. Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni, they worked together already. So I don't know how fresh Frank would be an idea. And Kellen Moore, I guess, is different, but I don't know if he's going to like completely change the offense for the better. To me, Kingsbury is the one guy who's like, he's very different than the rest.
Yeah, but I agree with you that Kingsbury is an interesting guy, but they hire him, and you wait to see the naysayers who say, well, he had Mahomes, and he didn't win with Mahomes, and then he was in the NFL, and he didn't win there, so what has he ever done? I mean, who knows if he's a good coach? Who knows what he will do here? But that's what I talk about. If you bring a guy in or you bring in a Kellen Moore, people say, well, do we want Jalen Hurts under center that much? Why did Dallas get rid of him? So whoever they bring in, there's going to be question marks about or questions asked about. But the important thing is they bring a guy in who can kind of shake things up and get the offense out of the malaise it kind of fell into, or out of the predictability it sort of seemed to fall into at the end of last season.
Follow him on Twitter, X at AC Press McGarry. All of his coverage over at thepressofatlanticcity.com. He joins us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Mike, enjoy the weekend. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Josh. We'll see you down the road. Thanks.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Don't forget the Sports Bash is being brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Back to the text board on the other side, 609-403-0973. Plus, what did someone who knows Vic Fangio well, someone who played in Chicago, what does he think of the Eagles hiring Vic Fangio? You'll hear that next on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig, filling for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
They beat on the back down against Wembanyama. Powers by him, slaps him. He into him and then stopped the ball.
It's Sixers Nuggets tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 5:30. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
I hate free money and finishing first. Said no one ever. At Raceway Kia, you'll finish first with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 90 days. And right now, you can lease a rugged new 2023 Kia Sorento for only $199 a month. Stop by Raceway Kia today or visit online at racewaykia.com. That's 131-24 OAC with KMF. 3 years, 30,000 miles, $49.95 to its signing. Attached title, license, and fees extra. Security deposit waived. Stock number PG248651.
Opioid overdose is a serious crisis. But with naloxone, there is hope. Whether it's prescription painkillers or illicit drugs, naloxone can be the difference between life and death. With just a simple nasal spray, this easy-to-use medication can quickly stop an overdose in its tracks. Naloxone is free, anonymous, does not require a prescription, and can be obtained by anyone 14 or older. Visit stopoverdoses.nj.gov to learn how you can get naloxone at a participating pharmacy. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
Hey, it's number 59, Seth joining. Join me on the Bet Parks Sportsbook app, and you're in the zone. Bet Parks is the official casino and sportsbook app of the real Philly fan, and the only app I recommend. Bet more than the score. Bet player performances like total passing and rushing yards. Bet total team touchdown. Bet who scores a touchdown. And nobody does live in-game betting better than Bet Parks. Bet on the action as it happens. Join me right now and download the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. New customers make a winning $10 bet and get $125 in bonus sportsbook bets back. Must be a winning bet, and bonus bets must be wagered once. The Bet Parks Sportsbook is the only sports betting app that I recommend. Live betting, parlays, props, teasers, they have it all. Like me, I'm sure that you love to play, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Must be 21 in NPA, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland. Number 1-800-GAMBLE.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
Yeah, let's get this feeling inside. It's the mood, it's the vibe. Breathing for the first time. So breathe, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Love life, paradise.
Hey, South Jersey homeowners, don't wait for your new fence or gate. Get started now to beat the spring rush. Choose from our inventory of privacy, decorative, security, and pool fence solutions by Active Yards. Don't wait until July. Go online and apply at DennisvilleFence.com. No many down.
Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE. Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at Chico & Sons in Northfield for just $25.
This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
When he was in Chicago, we got to see that with Eddie Goldman.
Yeah,
we got to see that with Akeem Hicks. And when you've got those winners inside, it presents a lot of opportunities for tackles for loss. But to your point, it's the bend but don't break. That's the motto. And you talked about the scheme. But for quarterbacks, we're going to be taking away what are the gimmies for you.
Yes.
So it's going to force you to make those big-time aggressive throws and tight windows.
Kyle Long, Chris Long's brother on the Green Light podcast, he's very high on Vic Fangio. I think it's interesting that it's only the Miami Dolphins players who are a bunch of whiny crybabies over Fangio. It's interesting that, this is an offensive player who looked over and said, I saw what he did with our guy. I'm telling you, that guy can do some stuff. And I think it's very interesting that, there is, because of what Drew Rosenhaus said yesterday and because of some of the childish antics of the Dolphins players on social media, now all of a sudden it's just like, oh no, did we get the wrong guy attitude? I think that's a fabrication of a lot of people who are uneducated on social media. And, bringing in a guy like Fangio is about doing it right. Not having just somebody else who runs the system. Because as Kyle Long explained, Fangio is a major upgrade over Desai.
I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I think the interesting thing is Sean Desai is out, and he's a disciple of Fangio. Couldn't replicate the Don himself with Fangio.
Yeah.
They're going to bring him on. I think that the guys in Philly will respond well to him because, as we know, like Harbaugh, the well-respected coach coming in, winning a locker room over, it's the same kind of deal in that defensive room. I've never been in a defensive room, but I've spoken to guys who played with Vic, and they love him.
Guys love this coach. It's only Miami. It's not Chicago. It's not Denver. It's not New Orleans years ago. It's just one group of crybaby Gen Zers who want to go out and party all night. Because the problem with Fangio is that he does hold people accountable. He is a bit of a dictator when it comes to how he runs his operation. And so when you're getting the real deal and not a knockoff, there comes a level of accountability. And I think that this is a huge deal that they got Fangio because now you have an adult in the locker. Now you have somebody in there that is going to turn to the players and say, I ask this of you. If you just give me this level of execution, we will win a lot of games. And frankly, with all the crybabies in Miami, with all the betas down in Miami, with all the injuries to Miami, Vic Fangio still allowed 3 to 4 less points per game than either of the Eagles coordinators last year. The Eagles defense fell apart last year, not because of injuries, but because of coaching. And Chris Long makes a very, very important point on the Greenlight podcast about the importance of having the right former head coach in a locker room.
I think they nailed this hire. He's a shadow because he's got an elder statesman in the building who can actually, it's like having a second head coach in the building. That helps. Obi-Wan. That helps, dude. I can remember, certain coaches having former head coaches come back in the building. If it's the wrong head coach, former head coach, you can the whole thing up.
Think about that. Who was in that organization last year? Matt Patricia. Who's the former head coach on the coaching staff last year? Matt Patricia. So to pull back on what Chris Long said, did Matt Patricia mess up to, clean up what he said? Did Matt Patricia mess up the whole dynamic of that organization, and that's why it fell apart? Because as he said, you got the right former head coach in there. He's the adult. He's, as Kyle Long said, he's the Obi-Wan Kenobi to be the Jedi Master for Nick Sirianni. Having that older mentor, having that other guy in the organization that is a stabilizing force. I just have to wonder, when I heard Chris Long say that, did Matt Patricia implode this whole thing? Did the Eagles fall apart last year in part because Matt Patricia put his dirty hands on everything, didn't clean his hands before he decided to start doing work, and it made everyone sick with the dinner that he made? And the Eagles didn't want to throw Patricia under the bus because of the fact that then they would have to admit that it was all their fault. Because it was. And look, how we can point to Nick Sirianni and say it was Sirianni's idea. Nick can say that this is a collaborative effort. Jeffrey Lurie can say, the organization is all about collaboration. The reality is they're all at fault. Matt Patricia should have never been here in the first place. They should have never gave him play calling responsibilities. He mucked the whole thing up. He grimied the whole thing. And now you are going to have to respond in tow with that. 609-403-0970. Real quick text before we get to the next break. Mr. 856 chimes in at 609-403-0970. Says, I think Kingsbury is the best choice for Eagles OC. Look, until I hear a new name, and there certainly could be a new name at some point. I said this last night on game night. If you had to ask me to rank all the coordinators who are options, Kingsbury's 1, Kellen Moore is 2. Because everyone after that, I don't know if they're bringing anything new or unique to the table. Frank Reich, Jim Bob Cooter have already worked with Nick Sirianni. They are not going to bring fresh ideas. They're going to bring variations of the same ideas. Cliff Kingsbury, it's a completely different offense. He worked with Kyler Murray. He worked with Pat Mahomes in college. He has shown success, different types of quarterbacks. Give me that guy. I don't want the same old, same old. Chris Franklin from NJ.com next.
Tonight on Compass Media Network's coverage of NCAA basketball, Big Ten powers collide from Madison as the 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers host the Michigan State Spartans. Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee. Join Doug Gottlieb and me for all the action as A.J. Storr and the Badgers look to remain atop the Big Ten standings against Tom Izzo and the Spartans. If it's NCAA basketball, it's right here.
The college basketball season continues on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
As the world keeps changing, so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn more about a COVID-19 vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey everyone, gather round. It's time for corny jokes about passing the torch.
The team at Kirian's Welding was fused together solid.
Thanks for all the late nights and early shifts.
But double retirements mean the crew must bond with some certified new hires.
You've both gone the extra millimeter.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Or for Washington, we love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside me. It's the mood, it's the vibe. Breathing for the first time. So breathe, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for free.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trademan can get you released. Matt Black Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If you're making the minimum payments, but your balance is just not going down, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it will take years to get out of debt, call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 5 million people. They can consolidate your debts into one lower payment, reduce your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. If you're struggling with credit card debt, call Consolidated Credit now.
Call now, 800-552-6750. That's 800-552-6750. 800-552-6750.
Consolidated Credit Counseling Services Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Not a loan company licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 19, Oregon DM 80031. Licensed by Virginia State Corporation. Commission license number DC 32. Establishment of a plan may adversely affect the individual's credit rating or credit scores. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase financial charges or collections activity, including litigation.
Radio still reaches more consumers than all other forms of traditional media. Consumption of media has changed rapidly over the last several years. Do you own or manage a business in South Jersey? Then you need the expertise of Town Square Media. Our capabilities regarding radio and digital marketing will drive results for your business, as we do for all of our clients throughout the region. Let us help you produce your unfair share of customers by creating an advertising solution for your business. The combination of radio and digital is an extremely powerful mix, and Town Square Media will deliver your message directly to your target audience, the air and online each day. And it's great to have a presence on Facebook, but that is not a marketing strategy for your business. Town Square Media South Jersey can help build your brand, increase sales, and give your business the boost it needs in this new year. Call Jim McLean at 609-645-9797, and his team will deliver your target audiences. So call him today. Watch your business soar this year.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday here on 97.3 ESPN FM and on 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. This hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by Ocean Casino Resort. Go to the gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more info, visit theoceanac.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLE. Don't forget, you can still win a 4-pack of tickets to go see the Wings tomorrow night at the Wells Fargo Center. Of course, they got that one, but 2 concerts going on tomorrow night, one pregame and one at halftime. So you get to go to basically 2 concerts and a Wings game, 4-pack of tickets. Just text in your name, your email address. Let us know you want to go. 609-403-0973 is the text for. Before we get back to more of your thoughts and comments, as you guys have been messaging in throughout the afternoon, Chris Franklin, NJ Advanced Media, covers Eagles, get his perspective as the dust has settled a little bit, at least, from Wednesday's press conference. Chris, I hope someone's going to patent fresh ideas at some point. I hope it's you.
There is a t-shirt. The t-shirt business is doing really pretty well right now. So, that's not bad. I can throw something out there for that. But yeah, it seems to be a theme there.
So when you heard Nick say fresh ideas 7, 8, or however many times it was, do you think that he was him that being serious? Is he being serious? We know that they need fresh ideas, right? But is Nick saying that him, in a certain way of saying what?
I think it's sort of way of saying that is the offense, being offensive mind, he needs to change something coming up this season. If not, he can find himself, instead of coming back next year, he'll be out of a job potentially. He really does need that, and especially with what we've heard in the past from Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, what they love about having innovative offenses. I mean, we've seen it through Chip Kelly, we've seen Doug Peterson, and guys like that. You need to bring in fresh ideas in the way that the season ended with the wide receiver screens and the QB draws and everything else. I think that hammered home. So I think especially for the offensive side, I think that's hammered home. Him being an offensive mind, that's where he went to.
When you think about him being an offensive mind, we'll get to the defense in a minute, but when you think about him being an offensive mind, you see some of the names being circulated out there. Cliff Kingsbury, Kellen Moore, Jim Bob Cooter. Do any of those guys stand out to you?
They all sound like a country band to me, personally, when you throw out with that one on top of that. It sounds like a country band, but if out of that thing right now, I'm looking at Cliff Kingsbury would be the one for me that would be the one that would intrigue me the most. Because and just for the fact that what he's done with quarterbacks in his past. I mean, look what he did with Kyler Murray. You say what you will with Pat Mahomes back in college, and you look at what he was able to do and how he was able to get to the play at a high level. I think that's key. And I know when you look at the air raid and you hear about, you think about, okay, here comes 4 or 5 wide receivers and they're going to be throwing more screens and just throwing the ball every which way. And wear out that defense. But for me, I look at the way he can basically fix some of those fundamentals with Jalen, make that offense go. And also they ran the ball a lot, especially with Arizona was surprisingly effective with the run when Kingsbury was there calling the plays there. So if you were going under that guise of you want fresh, innovative ideas and something new, out of those three, I think Kingsbury would be the guy to go with.
I mean, I personally like Kingsbury too. All I got now though, after you said that, is I got a T-shirt with Kingsbury, Moore, and Cooter's faces all on there, and under it says "Fresh Ideas."
And then Gertie Band Part 2 with those three. You just hear names of like I get they're looking everywhere. I mean, Caldwell looking up like all those other guys. I can see that, but yeah, they really do need to at least for a sense of to pacify the fan base, because everybody's looking for something to change. Because they finished in the top 10 in offense, so let's get a couple tweaks here and there, maybe a few packages, and you go from there.
And I'm glad you said tweaks, because I think that's the part people don't realize. Like, you look at the numbers from last season to this season, it's not like there was a massive drop off offensively. So, I mean, if Jason Kelce retires, Juergens moves to center, someone else is going to play right guard. Maybe you replace who the number 3 slot receiver is. Maybe you throw to Goddard a little bit more next year. Maybe you run the ball in a little bit more consistent manner last year. It's not like this team offensively, it's not like they can't be better, Chris.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of tools. And I think the only reason why you're not seeing a lot more people jump for the job is because you don't know the uncertainty past this season. Because if the Eagles were coming in there, they had a new head coach, they were looking to hire somebody, I think there would be a bunch of people jumping for this offensive coordinator position. And that's why I think you see some of the names that you're seeing right now is a reason because of just the uncertainty. But they have a lot of tools there to be explosive. And we heard so many times about execution, getting guys in the right place. Well, if you get the guys in the right place, I'm pretty sure the execution is going to follow with these players that you have there. So yeah, this is probably the most important most important move around to make all offseason.
Talking with Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media, Eagles beat writer for NJ.com, at C Franklin News on the Twitter X platform. Joining me here on the Sports Bash, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. You're not the first person, Chris, I heard say this is the most important hire. I've heard a lot of other people say that as well. For you, what are then the pros and cons of this hire? Because, I think a lot of Eagle fans, everyone has, look, doesn't matter where we go. Okay. You or I could go any place in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area, and fans will give us their opinion on the Eagles. Okay. Eagle fans are not scared of having an opinion, but let's try to be objective here. What are the pros and cons of this important move?
Well, the pros are the players that you have with skill positions. I think you still have, you look at A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, still one of the top tandems in the NFL. You got a quarterback. I still say, they look at his best in the last part of the season. I still think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback in this league, and it's tough to find guys like that to be with. So when you look at the core parts, he's got the offensive line. So core parts, you still have it there. The thing that worries me is you don't, and I mentioned this earlier, you don't know if say if things go south, they're probably going to clean house. So you're probably going to be in the same situation before again, looking for another job. B, I still think even though you may have a learning curve, if Jason Kelce doesn't return, you may have a learning curve with Cam Juergens and Tyler Steen at right guard and just getting the flow with that. So that's another thing. And then see this overall pressure. And some guys can thrive with that, but we all know this market is a tough market. So if you start out 0-2, 0-3, but you're scoring like 20 points, can this guy survive and have the mettle to still believe in the system and make the changes that are necessary to get them back to the Super Bowl? So those will be the three things I'm worried about. And those are three pretty big things you got to worry about when it comes to it.
So then where does Nick Sirianni saying it's not my offense, it's our offense fall into all this? Because if we're assuming Sirianni's not calling plays and he's looking for fresh ideas, but he keeps insisting on, Chris, that it's the whole team, the coach Jason Kelce's offense, then what does that mean for the next coordinator?
That means his job is tied. His future is tied on this guy he does, because I look at defensively. I think they just need to be they don't even need to be they don't need to be one of the top defense. It would be nice to see them do that, but they just need to be average. And the offense is going to have to become an offensive focused team, one that just puts a lot of points on the board and gets ahead quickly. Because look how many times we had to see this team come from behind over the course of the season, and we saw it had to use a lot. It wasn't as smooth as well. They came back quite early, but it wasn't in the second half of the season. So I really think you need a defense that just is okay. If you get an average defense, I think this team actually still might be in playing. It's a stretch, but at least be in the divisional round. Probably maybe playing this weekend. So yeah, I think when he says it's our offense, he's talking about, hey, I still want to be a head coach in this league in 2025, and want to be a head coach in Philadelphia. So this is why it's going to be our offense, not so much him calling the plays or him putting extra touches on that. He has to give full control to whoever's the OC and just let him do his thing.
You mentioned about Nick not calling the plays, how he letting the guys do his own thing. You know, we have in the NFC and AFC championship games tomorrow, 2 of the 4 head coaches don't call plays. John Harbaugh in Baltimore, Dan Campbell in Detroit. So there are examples of these CEO coaches being successful outside of last year's Eagles run. So can Nick Sirianni, if he gets the right people, is that really the key here? Is it literally as I know I asked you this previously on game night on 97.3, but is it as simple as getting the right people for Sirianni?
It really is. And you have to have trust and faith and not feel like you have to jump in unless things get bad. You got to let them do their thing because I think when you look at some of the decision making when you went down, especially late in games where you're still in it, they played a little bit more conservatively, and you saw some of those play calls transpire, especially that Cardinals game still comes to mind when it comes to that. And when it comes to decisions like that comes to the head coach. They say, hey, you know what, we're just going to play for field goal here. We're just going to do this. That goes to the head coach. So, and then I think I would like to see Brian Johnson probably have a little bit more of his influence into the offense. And you might say, oh, well, wide receivers, that was him. Like, I just like to see sometimes maybe let him design his own couple of different more packages and stuff like that, see what happens that way too, because we've heard constantly it was Nick's offense. He was calling Nick's offense. So I think that's the biggest key. He's don't get too in the weeds and don't get too into what the new offensive coordinator is doing. You still have to report to the head coach and it's be part of the overall game plan. But if whatever he decides and whatever his thing is, let him go and let him cook.
Chris, let's flip it over to the defense. It seems like everyone except for the people in Miami love Vic Fangio. So what is your initial take on Vic Fangio on his way to becoming the next Eagles defensive coordinator?
The good is that you don't have to retrofit the whole entire defense. I mean, this team's been trying to run the scheme for the last 2 seasons, and I think the one thing I think he's going to really make an immediate impact is I think he'll get that pass rush a lot better. You look what he did with Miami, and I think when you look at a lot of those pieces, they were pretty comparable to what the Eagles had among that defensive line. So I think it really comes down to simplifying the things in that coverage or that match coverage, that match concept, which is a lot of communication. It can be really confusing. We've seen blown coverages, and we saw the last several weeks. You've seen the blown coverages that happen with it. It's a matter of simplifying it so not only do the young players you have returning get to it, everybody, if you bring in somebody else, say it's safety position, what have you, linebacker position, they can just jump in there, not have to worry about thinking so much, let them play and do their thing. And when we've seen when this coverages are hold up, this defensive line can get time to do it when the quarterback can hold the ball a lot more. So Fangio, I think in theory he can do that, but I'm still leery about this thing because I still think I know they were in July injuries. I still look at that Ravens game and they tore them apart, put a 56 burger on them. So I look at that and I'm thinking you worry about teams starting to figure it out a little bit. So, but I think overall, if you can, like I said earlier, if you can get them to like the 15th, this team ranked 15th in overall total defense, and you increase the sack total to get towards near like the 55, 60 range, then I think this defense will be all right.
Here's my just playing devil's advocate, Chris. How much of what happened in Miami, though, was a byproduct of those guys not buying in to what he was preaching? Like, was some of the problems in Miami because by the end of the year, half the team was injured, as we know, but then also the fact that during the season, it seems like these players were they weren't too happy with the disciplinarian Fangio. So is it possible that maybe some of these guys, I don't want to say they quit on him, but maybe they kind of had the, take a long walk on a short pier coach attitude?
Well, I think a lot, especially if you have defense, like former defensive coordinators and you play a certain way, like especially if you play like attacking style like Miami did prior to Fangio, and you have a guy who's more laid back, a player's type of defensive coordinator, and you have somebody coming in like, no, you know what? I want you to do this in my way, and then play passive in a sense. You're gonna be like, well, I'm not used to this. I'm not ready for this. I want to go back to the old way. But the thing is, you saw the results earlier on, and it was really working. And I personally, after seeing this defense the last 2 years, I was more looking for like a more aggressive approach. Not saying I'm going like Wink Martindale and say blitz, 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 blitz. No, but just somebody that put a little bit more pressure and more of attack focus. But yeah, I think it's I think with this core group that you have right now for it, they're already used to this defense, and I think it's pretty much gotten it set that way, and it shouldn't be as much of a problem as it was in Miami.
On the Greenlight Pod, Chris Long and Kyle Long were saying that, the problem with the Eagles last year is they were running a variation of what Fangio does, whereas Fangio, because he's the originator of this defense, he can actually run it at a level that can replicate what Jonathan Gannon's success he had in 2022. Do you buy into that theory?
I think there's some element to the truth of that, but also when you just look at the overall facility, the overall operation of it is a lot of it's the same. But one thing that I thought that Sean Desai could have done a little bit better was vary the coverage looks and not make it too simplistic, so that quarterbacks will just go, well, I've seen this before. Okay, I'm going this way, and start picking it apart, and you see 10, 12, 14-yard receptions at that time and death by 1,000 paper cuts when it comes to that. So I think it's a little bit of that. If anything, is to me, it's kind of weird seeing the guy who tried to run it. I think Desai would have done better if he was on the staff if Angelo was leading it, but now we see Desai, there's no way he's coming back to be this assistant coach here again. But I think that was more of a sense like he had a sense of it, and it was his first time being defensive coordinator trying to get, at least here in Philly, and trying to iron that stuff out with his system. And he just needed, I don't think he wasn't as effective, and B, he just didn't have enough time to do that, and he had a quick plug pull him.
The other comments been put out there, Chris, is about Fangio, that he's not taking this job without some reassurances of what the Eagles are going to do to retool the defense this offseason. Because, yeah, there was a coaching problem last year, but let's be realistic. The talent wasn't elite either at certain positions. So, do you expect this offseason Howie Roseman to focus a lot on retooling the defense?
I really do. I think if anything, I think, to me, if I was them, I would use 2 of those first 3 draft picks on the defensive side of the ball. I think you could really start to refresh it because, you're getting older at certain spots like cornerback and edge rusher. You got some uncertainty there. So I think that's one way too. And Deshaun, I forget his last name. I want to say Phillips, but his name escapes right now. Was safety. That's another guy at Target that was down there, played for him last year. He had a great year. He's a guy who could fly the ball from the middle of the field and get to the sideline quickly. I thought they lacked that because I think a lot of the guys were thinking too much and trying to see what assignment was which. But it seemed like his instincts were just like, okay, see ball, run ball, go get it. And I like that part of that too. So I think there's some things, and I also think he has the full autonomy of it. It's almost like the situation when Andy Reid was here and they hired Jim Johnson. Say, hey, Jim Johnson, you're the head coach of defense. Just do your thing. I think it could be one of those things as well too. Is hey, hey Vic, this is your side of the ball. You do your thing. We'll get you the pieces that you need in order to succeed because all that pressure is on everybody in that building. So I think they're going to do everything they can to do that and use a considerable amount of resources to refit that whole side of the ball.
Do you think that defensively, is there any specific player that you don't think that will be back? There's a bunch of free agents this offseason. Is there anyone particular that you look at? Because Howie Roseman only talked about 3 players the entire press conference Wednesday. It was Jalen Hurts, Nakobe Dean, and Zach Cunningham. I don't remember a single other player being mentioned. So are there any guys that you're looking at and being like, yeah, man, he ain't back?
Well, the way Jordan Davis was talking during cleanout day, Fletcher Cox is one guy that I'm looking at. Like the way he was talking and saying like, I'm going to miss this guy. He's going to come back. It sounds like he made it sound like he was gone. And I was like, okay, you're going to put a lot of pressure on those guys in the middle. I think, yeah, when you look at the thing, I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Cunningham comes back. So I think, and they signed him to a deal because he actually was poetically about him. So you got that. I'll look at that back end. Maybe they try to find a way to move Byard. Maybe they try to find a way to restructure Bradbury and get a better number on him, stuff like that. But I think they still have a lot of young guys on that side of the ball that they're going to rely on a lot. I know a lot of people, like, I read social media like you do too, and sort of say, Slade, get rid of Slade. I think Slade's still your best cornerback, so you need to bring him back. And I think if anything, you'll see it'll be pieces here and there, but I think the biggest one's going to be Fletcher Cox potentially.
Chris, before I let you go, who are you picking for Sunday?
You know, the script says and the logo says it's the 49ers and the Ravens. Personally, I want to see Detroit versus the Ravens because at this point, I just want to see Detroit. That city's waited for so long. It's almost like a Buffalo situation, but but a lot worse. I think that Detroit's seen it a long time, so I would love to see that, but I really think it's going to be they're sticking with the script, and I think they're going with the San Francisco 49ers and the Ravens. It's going to be the Super Bowl, but the Ravens win.
I'm just saying I think there's a lot of people who are saying anything but Kansas City at this point. I think there's there's some fatigue going on with that situation. You know what I mean?
They're the new Patriots. And every year you spend in this round, and every year you expect to see them in the Super Bowl. They're the new Patriots. They really feel like that with Mahomes, Swift, Kelsey, all that stuff, and everybody. Yeah, I think everybody wants to see. They don't want to see the whole entire camera sidelines going to Taylor Swift in the box after every play or every target to catch Travis.
Well, Chris, that's the real problem. Like, Taylor Swift is a much bigger celebrity than Giselle was when she was with Tom Brady. And, you look at the Chiefs organization, it's like 6 straight years in the AFC Championship game is absolutely insane. There's almost a part of you that's like, can you guys let somebody else win for once? Like, come on.
That's Andy's round. I mean, it's silly. That's his. They should really call the championship round if he's still whenever he's coaching the Andy Reid Invitational, because every year it seems like he gets his team at least to the championship round, the championship game. So he does that. But yeah, you gotta give hats off to him. I mean, if the foot was on the Eagles, if the same thing was happening to the Eagles, I'm sure everybody in Philadelphia, South Jersey, and everything was like, you know what, this never gets old. But then around the country, it's like, what? Get these guys out whatever you can. So it heavy lies the crown. It's tough.
Oh my goodness! And then of course all the rumors that Andy may or may not leave after this year. I mean, it's absolutely wild down there in Kansas City. Chris Franklin joining us from NJ Advanced Media at C Franklin News on the Twitter X platform. Check out all of his Eagles coverage over at NJ.com. And he joined us right here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, appreciate you carving out some time on your Friday afternoon.
No worries. I appreciate it, man. It's always great talking to you. Get those country t-shirts ready, man.
I'm telling you, man, it's fresh ideas. It's right across the center. And it's just, as I said earlier, it's Kingsbury, Moore, and Jim Bob Cooter's face is just right above it. That's the t-shirt, man. Make it black with like neon green lettering.
Route problems only heard on another country station. There you go.
This route tree ain't right.
I threw my 9 route and it went on the outside. Right. Oh gosh, it's perfect.
I better let you go before we get some like copyright infringement or something.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Chris, I'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. We'll check back on the text board coming up next at 609-403-0973. So far, we already got 2 winners of the 4-pack of tickets for the Wings game tomorrow night. Andrew, Matt, you are both going to the Wings game tomorrow night. They got 4 packs of tickets. You can win as well by texting in 609-403-0973, your name, your email address, and let us know what you're up to this weekend. Happy Hour Friday. What are you drinking? Watching? Where are you going to watch the AFC Championship games on Sunday? What are you doing with your Saturday? Sixers, Flyers tomorrow. Let us know. 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Friday afternoon.
We have the perfect remedy for sitting in traffic. The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
Absolutely the best.
And the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at Chico & Sons in Northfield for just $25.
This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Must be 21 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Joe Conklin here, and I'm excited to cheer on the Philadelphia 76ers this season with Marks Casino. Marks Casino, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, is the official local casino partner of the 76ers. That's right, two of the best brands in the Philadelphia area are joined together to bring fans what they love most, wins. Remember to tune in to 76ers games to get in on the Parks offers for fans. And to see me live at 360 at Parks Casino, visit parkscasino.com for tickets. This is how you win. You want to roll? Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We're told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code SUPPORT or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Hi, this is Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. If you've been having issues with your roof from all the rain over the last few weeks, or if you're just worried about leaks from upcoming storms this winter, give us a call. We can be at your house within 24 to 48 hours for an estimate and install a new roof within 1 to 7 business days. We also do emergency tarping and repairs, as well as siding and gutters.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at ApexEastRoofing.com.
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
It's a new year everywhere, but at Bennett Chevrolet, some things don't change because there's still no beating Bennett. That's right, Bennett Chevy kicks off 2024 just like every other year with the best deals anywhere on new and pre-owned vehicles. You still pay what our GM supplier employees pay, not a penny more. Plus, you keep all the rebates. Unlike many dealers that give you either or, Bennett gives you both. The GM supplier employee price plus all the rebates. And you save even more with Bennett's available 1.9% financing. Looking for used? Get an astounding $8,000 minimum for any old clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $8,000 for total junk. So imagine how much Bennett pays for a good trade. And Bennett still offers the best buying experience in the business, with a sales team paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Imagine that. Salespeople with your best interest in mind. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Taco Bell just dropped the new Cravings Value Menu. Now you can get 10 items for $3 or less, which means you can get the food you want for the price you want. It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too. But in this case, it's a double stack taco from the new Cravings Value Menu. So basically, you can have your double stack taco and eat it too, which is a lot crunchier than cake. The new Cravings Value Menu is here. Get it at Taco Bell today. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for price and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Champion Exteriors. Champion, the one you call first. Voted best of the best in Jersey Shores. For roofing and siding, windows and doors. 24-month financing, no payments, no interest. Your certified GAF elite contractors. Champion-exteriors.com. Champion Exteriors.
Mike Gill
The voice of the voiceless.
on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Josh Hennig played for Mike Gill in the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. A conversation with Chris Franklin was brought to you by Broadleys Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Broadleys is your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907 or visit them online at broadleys.net. You got more qualifiers coming in for the ticket giveaway. The 4 packs of tickets for tomorrow night's Wings game. Wings is a cool thing to do with your family. Take your kids, wholesome environment, go enjoy the game. They also got 2 concerts tomorrow night. One concert will be in the East Food Hall pregame, and the second concert will be a church level in the party zone. The first concert will be they're a New Jersey band called Jersey Call. They're a bunch of guys from South Jersey. The halftime show in Bucks County. The starting line, 2 local bands performing tomorrow night at the Wings. 2 concerts, and you get a Wings game. Get a 4-pack. Check in your name and your email address. I already mentioned that we got 2 winners so far. Andrew and Matt. Jeff from Matt Beacon sends his email in. Qualify. He says, "I'd love to take my kids to the Wings game this weekend. I'm trying a new Cape May winter warmer later for Happy Hour Friday." Well, Jeff, let us know how that winter warmer is. I have not had that before, so let me know how that one is. And I'm always open to new ideas. I've told you guys in the past, Mike Gill is an IPA exclusive guy. I am much more diversified in my palate. Not just against Mike. We're different people. Well established in our years working together here at 97.3 ESPN. But yeah, Mike sticks to the IPAs. I like to have a little diversity. I go out. Let's try to. Yeah, Jeff. Let me know how that Cape May winter is for your happy hour Friday. Charles chimes in. This weekend we're hoping to bring our first child into the first of all, Charles, congratulations on having a kid. Second of all, I'm just letting you know that everyone who I know, and I'm not saying this to, be some heartwarming Hallmark story or Lifetime movie, but I'm just letting you know, Charles, everyone I know who has had a child have all told me the same thing. It changes your life. It changes your perspective on the world. So just be prepared that this kid is going to change your entire world. Because the way it's been described to me, and I've been described by a lot of people I know who have kids, the moment you see that child for the first time when they're born, it's like a BCAD situation. It's like before and after. Like that's like the trajectory of your entire life. 609-403-0973. Texter chimes in. Didn't leave their name, but they said, I got some golf and twisted teas tomorrow. Sunday, football, I'm watching on the 86-inch screen at home. By the way, Josh, have a good weekend. You're doing a great job. Well, thank you, anonymous texter. I wish I could give you credit for complimenting me, but I gotta admit, twisted tea is not a go-to for me. Twisted tea reminds me of back in the day when it was like, I was explaining something to this a couple weeks ago. I was talking with some people I know, and I was saying, I feel like this whole phase of like the White Claws and the Trulies and all of those drinks, it's like the new age version of like the Smirnoff Ices back in the day. And I feel like the twisted tea is like the cousin of that whole section. It's like if we were to take like adult drinks and put them in the family groupings, it's like, the older brother of like White Claw is like the Smirnoff Ice, and like the cousin is like the twisted tea. I feel like that's kind of like how I feel about them. Twisted tea is not like a go-to for me, but I mean, about like a house party or something like that, if someone hands it to me, I'm not going to say no. My curious question though, Texter, is what are you, like an original twisted tea? Are you a flavored twisted tea? There's a whole thing with that. I mean, I know people. I remember I was literally a couple of years ago out at a party, and this young lady would not take anything except for the original twisted tea. She refused to drink any of the flavor varieties. And she got so indignant about it. And it was like really weird to watch how angry she was about it. My recommendation with the golf game, it's supposed to be warm this weekend. So dress for the weather. 86-inch screen at home. Yeah, that's going all in. That's an investment right there. Another texter chimes in, 609-403-0973 says, I'm definitely going to kick back and have a few beers while watching the Ravens and Lions win. Well, texter, you did not fulfill the mission of Happy Hour Friday. The mission, as prescribed each week, Happy Hour Friday, is to let us know what beers you are drinking. You don't let us know the beers you're drinking. It's like a tree falling in the forest. Tree falls and nobody hears it. Did it actually happen? There is a part of me that would love to see a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl. I feel like it would go a long way into modifying the conversations we have about coaches. Because today, so many coaches are hired to be play callers. And yet Campbell and Harbaugh don't call plays. So that throws the whole hiring the next boy wonder, hiring a genius. It turns that whole thing on its head. So for me, I would personally love it. I think Dan Campbell, I told Rob Motti earlier this week when he joined me on game night here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday afternoon. Rob Motti and I talked about Rob Motti for the Associated Press. We talked about how, wouldn't you love to see Dan Campbell at media day? I mean, that dude would be a riot. That dude just up there, ripping and roaring through questions. I mean, that Dan Campbell, if this was like another like era, if this was like another like, time and place, Dan Campbell, like, back in the day, like old athletes had like off-season jobs. Dan Campbell's like off-season football job, he'd be working like a professional wrestling. That dude just looks and sounds like a pro wrestler. It's absolutely wild. Couple more texts to get in here. Love hearing from you guys at 609-403-0973. Texture says, did you see the NHL Stadium Series jerseys for the Flyers and the Devils? I saw the Flyers jerseys. Anonymous texter at 609-403-0973. Oh, Phil. I'm sorry. Phil, I saw the Flyers jersey. I have to admit I'm conflicted. I feel like the orange numbers is a little bit too. There's no border on it. It's just orange numbers on white jerseys. I don't know how I feel about that. I understand they're trying to go with something like different and new, but I feel like, Flyers jerseys usually have like a border around the orange number. And now it's just like orange on white, just like bam in your face. And man, I don't know how I feel about that. I think if I saw the jerseys in the game, I might feel a little differently because the special photograph shots of them, they're not doing it for me. I'm just being honest. I might like them a little better in the actual action of the game, Phil, but I don't know if I like him in that manner. Speaking of pro wrestling, I've had 2 different people already ask me about the Royal Rumble this weekend. You guys want me to give a prediction? Here's what I think is going to happen. All right, and I will preface this by saying I am not a pro wrestling diehard. I am more of I watch for the athleticism and the storylines. Like, to me, I love going to pro wrestling shows personally because I like seeing in person how athletic these people are. The feats of athleticism that these men and women do in that ring, to me, is absolutely wild to watch. It shows you, what people can do, and they don't have to be like a basketball player or a football player or a hockey player or any of the regular sports. They get to go out there and perform, and they're basically like actors. They're acting out storylines and stuff. So, but the Royal Rumble, my prediction is I think the final 3 men in the ring for the men's Royal Rumble is going to be The Rock, CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes, because I think that the Punk and Rhodes feud going on right now, they could use that to leverage the potential Rock versus Reigns showdown at WrestleMania, because I can totally see, like, there's 3 men left in the ring. It's The Rock, it's CM Punk, and it's Cody Rhodes. And both Rhodes and Punk look at each other, and they both look at The Rock. And then the decision has to be made. Do Punk and Rhodes work together to get rid of The Rock, or do one of those men work with The Rock to eliminate the other guy? And I think what's going to happen is The Rock is going to make an alliance with either Punk or Rhodes. And Punk or Rhodes is going to help The Rock in his road to WrestleMania showdown with Roman Reigns. And I think that what's going to happen is that alliance between The Rock and one of those 2 other guys is going to be the next storyline heading to WrestleMania, because I think that you're going to get Rock Reigns WrestleMania in Philadelphia, and then the other guy who helps The Rock, he's going to probably fight for a belt at WrestleMania as well. But that's my working theory right now for WrestleMania. For those who, I've got multiple texts today. I didn't know that I was the guy that people come to ask to about the Royal Rumble or pro wrestling, but I'm glad to be of service. All right, I got a bunch more texts to get here. 609-403-0973. Zach from Cape May. I'll get to you and others coming up on the other side. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. Keep your text coming. You have a chance to win tickets to go see the Wings play tomorrow night. 4 packs of tickets. 609-403-0973. Send your name and your email address. You want to comment what you're consuming and drinking this weekend, let me know. 609-403-0973. Plus Sixers, Eagles talk, apparently pro wrestling talk. We got you covered on all the bases today on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Friday afternoon on 97.3 ESPN.
This Sunday, Westwood One brings you Championship Sunday. First, it's the AFC title game. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs face Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Then, the Detroit Lions aim for their first ever Super Bowl appearance, when they take on the San Francisco 49ers. Doubleheader coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If it's the NFL playoffs, it's right here.
Listen to Championship Weekend on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 2 p.m.
Hey, Frank, looks like business is booming. What are all those tabs you have open on your computer?
Oh, hey. Well, this one is for my SEO company. This one is for my website company. This one is for my CRM. This is for invoicing and estimates. This one does email, and this one does billing.
Geez, that sounds tricky to manage.
It's clunky, but I need all this to run my business. Wait, you run your own business, and you're even busier than I am. Don't you have all this stuff too?
I do, but I get it all on one screen with the Town Square Business Management Platform.
What's that?
The Town Square Business Management Platform is an all-in-one tool that helps me grow and run my business. It combines website, billing, and scheduling into one program.
That sounds simpler than juggling all the tools I have now, but you still need someone else to help you find new business, right?
Nope. They have powerful digital advertising built into the platform as well, which helps me keep my calendar full. You can get a demo of the product for free. Check out their website. See if it makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Town Square Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside me. It's the mood, it's the vibe. Breathing for the first time. So breathe, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Never fly paradise.
Stop the countdown. Don't let the new year pass you by without upgrading your ride. So bring any trade, no matter the make, mileage, or condition. We'll take it, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, and put you into a new Matte Black Kia with low, 0 down payment, 0.9% financing, and 0 down payments until April. And only Matte Black Kia has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy. We know bad things happen to good people. We want to approve you. We finance your future, not your past. Even if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released and into your new Matte Black Kia with 0 down, 0 payments until April on every new Kia in stock.
It's gotta be a Matte Black Kia.
With approved credit, not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can be combined. Go to matteblackkianj.com for complete details. 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF at $21.22 per thousand for 48 months. Rebates and incentives to dealer expires 2/2/24. Matte Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination. Reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High-impact protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code MUSCLE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text MUSCLE to 511-511. Text MUSCLE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Text fees may apply.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, bag boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys, bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Imagine having skin so soft and so smooth that you can't stop touching it? Well, now you can have that thanks to the amazing Lutronic Laser Facial Rejuvenation Service from Dr. Lyle M. Back in Cherry Hill. The Lutronic Laser erases fine lines and roughness, softens deeper lines, and firms up the skin, leaving your face glowing, radiant, and rejuvenated all in about an hour's time. It's a new year, so treat yourself. Call 856-MAKEOVER or visit ilovelylback.com.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Naloxone saves lives. Visit stopoverdoses.nj.gov to see how anyone 14 or older can get it for free. A non-prescription from participating pharmacies. A message from Human Services.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig from Mike Gill. Happy Hour Friday. Get some more of your text in before we hit the top of the hour. 609-403-0973. We got some qualifiers. 44 win those 4 packs of tickets. Queen State tomorrow night. Game, 1 1/2. Also, what you're drinking for Happy Hour Friday. Your thoughts on the Eagles, Sixers, World, Rumble, and more. We'll get all on the Sports Bash. Playing for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Zach from Cape May chimes in. Happy Hour Friday. I'm enjoying vacation from ourselves. Lime lager from Gusto on this 65 January afternoon. Great stuff as always, Josh. That's from Zach and Cape May. Well, Zach, cheers to you. That's a great pick from Gusto. Gusto does a great job with their brews. So now you're making me jealous. I would like to have a vacation from ourselves, literally and figuratively. Zach, enjoy yourself with that brew, with that Gusto, with the vacation from ourselves lime lager. It's a good choice there by Zach from Cape May. Let's see here. Dave chiming in from Mays Landing. He's the one who wants the Lions Ravens Super Bowl. He says, I'm kicking back, drinking some Heinekens while watching the Lions and Ravens. Well, good job by you, Dave. You did the follow up. You gave your name. You gave what you're drinking. See, Dave's a good man. I gave him an instruction. He came back with an answer. Thanks for participating. Andrew at Summers Point chimes in at 609-403-0973, says, if a head coach gives play calling to the defensive and offensive coordinators, what really does Nick Sirianni do? By the way, no beer for me, 7 a.m. to midnight all weekend. Have a great weekend from Andrew at Summers Point. First of all, Andrew, take care of yourself. Stay hydrated. You got to get the extra caffeine. Hit the coffee. Do what you got to do. Totally understand. No drinks for you this weekend. What does Nick Sirianni do? Well, Nick Sirianni says that it's his job to manage the culture of the team. Here's the thing, Andrew Summers Point. As I said earlier, John Harbaugh and Dan Campbell, nobody sits there and says, what are they doing? Right? Now, I don't see any people on social media or anybody on any radio stations, scratching their head wondering, what do John Harbaugh and Dan Campbell do every day? So why do we ask that question on Nick Sirianni? We do it, Andrew Summers Point, and I'm not criticizing you for this. I'm just putting the question out there. I think we do it because we have been indoctrinated to think that the offensive coordinator who gets hired for a job is supposed to call plays as a head coach. We were told for years by Doug Peterson, well, why would I want this job? I can't call plays, right? That was Doug Peterson. That was Chip Kelly's thing. Maybe this is just who Nick Sirianni is. Maybe he's just a good CEO head coach. He manages the overall game plan. He manages the substitutions, the timeouts, the play clock, the game clock, situational football. How many head coaches might be good at calling plays, Mike McCarthy, but stink at managing the game clock? He's horrible at the second part. He's actually pretty good at the first. Mike McCarthy might be one of the worst game time managers of all of football, but he can call plays. So there's your answer, Andrew. Summers Point. Take care of yourself this weekend. David, I see you've entered for the Wings game ticket, so you are in the conversation. Another text coming in at 609-403-0973 says, happy hour Friday. I will be drinking some Cape May Snag and Drop Tonewood Mas Fuego for the Spearskin. And okay, now this is where I'm wondering if this is a voice to text situation. 8 in Sand Hot Root IPA. Can't say I'm familiar with that one. I know the other two. Snag and Drop is good. Mas Fuego is good. I probably would say I like Snag and Drop better than Mas Fuego personally. But 8 in Sand Hot Root IPA, I'm not familiar with that one at all. 8 in Sand Beer Company, New England Hazy. Got a 3.9 rating on it. All right. Pretty good. I think it's good choices there. Just remember to drink responsibly. All right, Adam Kaplan, NFL Insider, next football at 4 here on 97.3 ESPN.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Dave Klemick, and producer Nikki Earnshaw join me in the studio. We will kickstart the show off with 13-year NFL veteran and speedster Eddie Kennison. Hour 2, it's the sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan, live from Las Vegas with his unique look at betting this weekend's action. Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, talk and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Imagine living into your 90s or even past 100 in good health. That's not uncommon in the Blue Zones, 5 regions in the world where people live longer and healthier than anywhere else. The Blue Zones are located in Greece, Japan, Italy, Costa Rica, and Loma Linda, California. Yes, there's one in the U.S. While traditions and cultures are very different, these regions share common lifestyle practices that promote longevity, such as a plant-based diet, regular physical activity, and strong social connections. People in the Blue Zones also tend to have a sense of purpose, which helps them stay motivated and engaged with life. By adopting some of these Blue Zone practices, we can improve our own health and well-being. So let's live a Blue Zone lifestyle today. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Recycling is an easy and important activity you can do every day to help the environment. ACUA reminds you to recycle metal cans, glass jars, cardboard, paper, and accepted plastics. To learn more, visit acua.com or call 609-272-6950.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
Hey, Mark, remember, getting help from Progressive is so easy. You can use the mobile app, chat what's online, or call us.
And you pick now to tell me.
I couldn't miss little Grace's ballet recital. Oh, thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Did I?
Because you know I'm always here for you.
Yeah. I can use the mobile app if I need help. Sorry, you're in my wife's seat, though.
Oh, yeah, I gotta go anyway. Tell Grace she nailed her chassé.
Get the help you need from Progressive with our mobile app, online chat, or over the phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the confidence and underdogs covering, the tension before a clutch turnover, and the pride of a parlay paying off. It's another chance to win big with all-day action. Plus, win your first $10 bet and get $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
621 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Joe Conklin from Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks Casino, and I'm psyched to cheer on the Philadelphia 76ers this season with Parks, the official local casino partner of the 76ers. Parks Casino is #1 with the hottest live tables and slots, great dining and bars, and the best live entertainment in the region. Need a fun and exciting game day destination? Get into Parks to watch your favorite teams in the Liberty Bell Gastropub or the Beer Garden. Visit parkscasino.com. This is how you win. You want to roll for gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I hate free money and finishing first. Said no one ever. At Raceway Kia, you'll finish first with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 90 days. And right now, you can lease a rugged new 2023 Kia Sorento for only $199 a month. Stop by Raceway Kia today or visit online at racewaykia.com. Fence 13124 OAC with KMF. 3 years, 30,000 miles for $49.95 to sign. Tax, title, license, and fees expert. Security deposit waived. Stock number PG248651.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You have the choice whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local restaurants.
Trio North Wildwood, chef-driven, quality-focused, bridging the gap between bar food and fine dining. TrioNW.com. Vincenzo's Ristorante, putting the accent on Italian. Soon to be your favorite spot for a delectable lunch or dinner in Galloway. VincenzoSmithville.com. Chico & Sons in Northfield, voted #1 sub shop in South Jersey year after year. ChicoandSons.com. Provenza Restaurant and Event Center on Wellington Avenue in Ventnor, a mouth-watering Latin American steakhouse, providing customers with a truly great dining experience. On Facebook at Provenza Restaurant Event Center. Looking for a fun night out in Atlantic City? Head out to Gin Ricky's, the Roy Social Hall, and Wild Honey Barbecue, and party like a rock star.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
This is South Jersey Sports Leader, 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Adam Kaplan, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
I give my heart and soul to this franchise, as so many of us do.
Now live from inside the Matt Blatt Kia studios, this is Football at 4.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday on 97.3 ESPN. As the smoke is finally clearing from the Wednesday press conference with Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, what is next for the Eagles? We'll look at that. Also, NFL Championship Sunday previews with NFL insider Adam Kaplan. InsideTheBirds.com, the Inside the Birds podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, download wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget about the Inside the Birds YouTube channel as well. And, of course, the Patreon page for even deeper insights. Adam Kaplan is back with us now here on a Friday edition of the show. Adam, welcome in. How you doing today?
Josh, I hope you're doing well. I'm okay. So, Andrew DeCecco and I did a show this morning. Andrew filled in for Mosher, and we had a fun show. We broke down a lot. It was a full-hour show, actually a little bit over an hour, and we covered a lot of subjects. And the big one, look, we did discuss the press conference Wednesday, which is certainly interesting. No doubt everybody has their own opinions on that. But what we really want to get into is what's next. I mean, it's one thing that press conference is fun. It's great to dissect it. We're done with that. We've moved on. What we're doing is what's going to happen in the near future. That's what everybody wants to know. People want to know about Vic Fangio, how he's going to fit in. What are they going to do to help him? They need to do a lot. And look, the Vic Fangio thing is interesting. We know that they tried to hire him last year. It didn't work out. But the real story is they actually had interest in him before they hired Jonathan Gannon. We were told, this is going back, obviously, 3 years ago, but we were told they looked into Fangio after he got fired by Denver, and he was not looking to coach then, so they moved on. But the bottom line is, obviously, it worked out with Jonathan Gannon last year. He moved on. He's now the Cardinals head coach, and they got their man, who was a consultant for them during the playoffs, but he was around the club occasionally, we were told, during the season. He was there quite a bit. And they really like him. Nick developed a good relationship with him, and Howie Roseman's developed a really good relationship with him. Vic Fangio's from the Scranton area. Moshe had a note that he wanted to come back home, and he's back home. You would have to wonder, Josh, will this be his last coaching job? If it works out, you would think it would be.
So we've had coaches, Adam, who have run the Vic Fangio, their version of his scheme, right? Sean Desai, Jonathan Gannon. But this is the man himself, as Kyle Long was jokingly saying on the Green Lake podcast, he's the Don. He's the originator of this. So what are the realistic expectations of Vic Fangio running a defense in Philadelphia?
I mean, if you really follow the NFL closely in the Dolphins last season, when they were healthy, they were a top 3 defense. The end of the season, down 6 starters, and it was tough. I mean, they got blown out of Baltimore. In fact, I'll never forget this. So we were doing our pregame show with myself, Mosher, Greg Cosell, and Jason Avant, and we had to turn our picks in. I said, guys, I'm changing my pick as soon as Xavier Howard was a surprise inactive. Remember, Jalen Ramsey was not back from his meniscus surgery. Like, I'm changing my pick. I'm going to go with the Eagles here because I don't see how the Dolphins can cover anybody. And that's what happened. They're one of their safeties, Javon Holland, was hurt. He had bad knee problems the second half of the season. He missed some time. Both starting outside linebackers are the best pass rushers. They signed 3 veteran guys at the end of their career. That didn't work out well. They just ran out of players, and that's why the season kind of collapsed on their defense. But so what are you going to get? You're going to get a defense that's about coverage and scheme. They're going to be in a lower 10 of blitzing, folks. They're not going to blitz with Vic. That's not what he does. And this has kind of been his MO for decades. Now, he adjusted his defense over the years because of the NFL rules, which said that it's much harder to cover in the back end because of the rules. Like after 5 yards, you can't. The league doesn't tolerate contact. So he did a lot of disguise, and the post snap disguise is what it's all about with Fangio. So you want to know what you're going to expect, Josh? That's it. Post snap disguise, some pre snap movement. And that's really where he wins. And now you have to give him players. The back 7 of the Eagles was poor. Okay, it was not good enough. And that now remember, Josh, they have till September to get this straightened out. Everybody wants instant gratification. They want them to win free agency. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, the Eagles will get involved in free agency. They always do. But the bottom line is they have to do a better job and get better players. Howie Roseman's got to get him better players. And one thing about Howie, which is really positive, is he listens to his coaches. If they feel like they need players, well, by golly, Vic will get them.
Yeah, and of course, don't forget Howie Roseman in the past, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Ronald Darby. They're just some of the guys that he acquired in August. So it's got several months ahead of us before we, as you and Jeff like to say, the first 53 is not the real 53 when the season starts. So flipping to the other side, Adam, offensive coordinator, that still needs to be filled. Some interesting names: Kellen Moore, Cliff Kingsbury. What do they run, and how do they potentially fit the fresh ideas that Nick Sirianni is looking for?
Yeah, that was interesting when he said that, Josh. Okay, that's something he's never talked about before. But look, Kellen Moore is a guy they know. Howie Roseman knows. They interviewed him 3 years ago. He was one of the head coaching candidates. They know they did their homework on his offense. He runs a spread. The third receiver will be involved. I know that for a fact. That's the way he thinks, and that's something Nick really failed on in getting past the second receiver. They got to do that. A pretty aggressive play caller. It's about the pass game with him. Same with Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury, his first couple years at tight end was not involved at all. Then he started to become more conventional in his final 2 years before he got fired. Kellen Moore, by the way, is still under contract with the Chargers, but that because Jim Harbaugh is coming in, he may bring in Greg Roman or somebody else. They're allowing him to interview. So he's got a bunch of interviews set up. What we reported, Jeff Mosher had a good note that Kingsbury, from what we understand, the interview went well, and there is definitely a possibility of a second interview. Now, other teams are interested in him. We'll see where it goes. So, and look, they interviewed Gerard Johnson earlier this week, who's the quarterback's coach for the Texans. They have other West Coast offensive guys on their list. They're not going to get Zach Robinson. We know they had interest in him, but Zach Robinson's going to go with Raheem Morris most likely to Atlanta. They worked together with the Rams. That was his coaching source told me that was his guy. So we expect that to happen. But they're now if they wait, Josh, until seeing what happens with the Niners this week, if the Niners lose, they could look into Clint Kubiak, who's more or less their passing game coordinator for the 49ers, and he was once the play caller OC for the Vikings.
Adam, must spin it forward to NFL Championship Sunday. NFL insider Adam Kaplan joining us for Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. Inside the Birds pod dropped again this morning. Adam and Andrew DeCecco breaking things down. Adam, NFL Championship Sunday, it involves actually a coach not on the same level as Nick Sirianni, but similar to Sirianni, doesn't call the plays. John Harbaugh and the Ravens, big story this week. Mark Andrews is back.
Yeah, he was activated today. He suffered a significant high ankle sprain with ligament damage over 2 months ago on a Thursday night game. It was definitely a primetime game. It was either Thursday or Sunday. I can't remember. Anyway, he's activated. He and Isaiah likely will be the tight ends. They play a lot of what we call 12 personnel, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, so that'll really help them. Likely scored last week when he reached over to the defender's back and made a great catch. And look, with Kansas City, their offensive line's beat up. Pacheco was clear to play. They will not be. They're not going to have Joe Tooney, their outstanding guard. He's out with a pectoral strain. That would worry me a little bit. And then look, the big thing for this game, and Josh, is could Lamar Jackson finally make it? He hasn't been great in the playoffs, but could he finally get to a Super Bowl? And it is interesting. John Harbaugh, the time that he won it, he went against his brother in 2012, and that's when Joe Flacco made that unbelievable run, Super Bowl MVP, one of the best playoff performances in NFL history. So maybe Lamar could get that done. And by the way, it's going to rain. We should mention for those who are looking to wager on it. Right now, the hour by hour forecast would project rain the entire game. Look, they've played through the rain before. You saw last week. By the way, the over-under total is 44.5. Now, I think that's a pretty accurate one because the Chiefs are not super high scoring anymore, and the Ravens arguably have the NFL's best defense.
And really quick on that game as well, let's not forget that John Harbaugh is from the Andy Reid coaching tree, so it's another Andy Reid disciple versus the mentor.
Yeah, that to me is really cool. I like that. And John, again, is not a play caller. What he did is he asked the Eagles front office, and obviously Andy Reid, they met about this. John knew to become a head coach, he changed things up. So this last year, I think he was their DB's coach, and then he became the Ravens head coach, as you know. And I mean, he's had quite the run here. He might be a Hall of Famer someday. That's how good of a head coach he is.
On the other side of the bracket, Detroit travels to San Francisco. Adam, let's start with the Lions. They got some injury concerns.
Yeah, first things first. No rain in Santa Clara like we saw last week. Don't have to worry about that. Khalif Raymond's not going to play. He was their punt returner. This will be his third straight game that he's going to miss. Their left guard, Jonah Jackson, won't play due to that sprained knee. And by the way, you know who's going to start for them? Coyote Awushika. He is going to start. He was with the Eagles as an undrafted free agent last year. He was a left tackle at the University of Buffalo who was moved to guard with the Eagles and a backup tackle. And now he's starting. He filled in last week. He probably will start this week. But that's a tough thing to do for guys at undrafted free agent that's new to this position. That would worry me a little bit. Raymond's their punt returner, really good player. There's their fourth receiver. He's the guy who's got good short area quickness. Niners, Deebo Samuel's trending towards being able to play. This is a different injury than the one that he had earlier this season. But if he gets cleared, that'll certainly help them. This is a fun game. Boy, what a story the Lions have been to make it this far. Look, both games look good. The Lions have a legit shot. I'm surprised the line is 7 here. This is a little bit higher than I expected.
You mentioned about the story of the Lions getting here. Talk about their turnaround real quick, Adam, before we let you go, because, I mean, this team was a laughing stock for years, and now they're in the NFC Championship game.
I hadn't won a playoff game in 30 years. Won the division. It's just quite the run here. Jared Goff has revived his career. Now, one thing I do worry about for them in the future is, what if Ben Johnson leaves? What if he gets the Commander's job, which he should get? It's not a lock. I know they're looking at other people. But if he is hired, that to me is a problem. That would worry me a little bit. And Jared Goff is just signed through next season. They probably will redo his deal. What a great story he's been. And Dan Campbell is phenomenal. All the people that laughed at him about the biting kneecaps and all that stuff, he's getting the last laugh.
Absolutely, he is. NFL insider Adam Kaplan at Kaplan NFL on the Twitter X platform. Inside the Birds podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Inside the Birds on YouTube, InsideTheBirds.com. And he joins us every Friday here for Football at 4. Adam, great stuff today.
Thank you.
Josh Hennig here on the Sports Bash, filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. And Football at 4 is being brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Before we get back to the text at 609-403-0973 for Happy Hour Friday, I just want to follow up on 2 points Adam made there. First of all, on the whole Harbaugh and Campbell not calling plays, I thought he brought up a great point about that, about the whole thing of they both got to this point differently. Harbaugh was a special teams coach, and that's why he never called plays of offense or defense, but he impressed so much as being a leader of an organization and the manager and the CEO of the operation. Whereas Campbell, he was a position coach who got interim gigs, but never got the head coaching job for years. And then he impressed with the Lions, and the pairing of him and that new front office has obviously paid dividends. And I think it's interesting because he said, these are non-traditional head coaching hires. And Adam's right. You look around the league right now, look at everyone's been hired so far. Raheem Morris in Atlanta, defensive coordinator. Canales from the Bucs offensive coordinator. He's now the Panthers head coach. You go to Brian Callahan with the Tennessee Titans, with the offensive coordinator. Now, he didn't call plays with Cincinnati. That was Zach Taylor's job. So we'll see how that works for him in Tennessee. And then, of course, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh does call plays, but he does give his coordinators play calling responsibilities. So, but he is well known that it's Harbaugh's offense. He's going to do what he wants to do. No one else is going to tell him what to do. So, it is true that, Nick Sirianni is trying to fall into a role that has been not followed by many head coaches. Outside of Campbell and Harbaugh, you really can't name any major head coaches in recent years who have been great executors of a team. A lot of these coaches are play callers. Even like someone like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's calling the plays. Bieniemy, Nagy, all these guys are part of the play calling and game planning, but it's still Andy Reid's offense, like it is Jim Harbaugh's offense. So when you turn to the Eagles, if you bring in someone like Kellen Moore, who, as Adam mentioned, the Eagles had interviewed him a couple of years ago, they're familiar with him. And then Cliff Kingsbury, who worked with Lincoln Riley at USC. And as we know, Lincoln Riley is a guy that has been someone the Eagles have kept an eye on over the years. And because Kingsbury has college and NFL coaching experience as a head coach and a coordinator, he brings an element that Kellen Moore can't bring. So if the Eagles are trying to assemble this like all-star coaching staff, right? This like Fangio, Kingsbury, it's like the whole, you guys know I'm a big movie guy, right? And, one of the things about, the movies is that, you can have a cast where the supporting actors are sometimes bigger than the main actor. If you look at different movies over the years, you realize that go back to the original Jurassic Park. Sam Neill and his character is like a huge focus of that movie, the first Jurassic Park movie. But he had an insane cast around him. So it allowed him to go out there and just play his part of the role. Now, they didn't keep that formula for the rest of the series for a variety of reasons, but you factor in that, Sam Neill is a lead character, but they got Jeff Goldblum, and they got Sam Jackson, and they got BD Wong. They got all these people on this cast, and it's like, and you got Sam Neill. The Marvel Cinematic Universe did a similar thing with the Thor movies. Chris Hemsworth was a nobody. He was a dude who was known for being Captain Kirk's dad and being an Australian surfer. But what did they do? They put Anthony Hopkins and Rene Russo surrounding him in the cast. So then it elevated his profile. So maybe that's who Sirianni is. Sirianni is not the superstar lead character actor, but he's good enough that when you put great supporting characters around him, it elevates him and the entire organization. 609-403-0973. And I understand where Andrew Summers' point is, how does an owner pay a coach to take care of culture only? It's a lot of money for culture. Well, some people will say culture is everything. Andrew Summers' point. I think that sometimes we as outsiders don't understand that a healthy work environment is so important. We think that the coach is getting paid to call plays. We have been indoctrinated. We have been brainwashed to think that. The reality is that football history is full of coaches who were not the primary play callers for a specific side of the ball who have had success. Just because Bill Belichick and Andy Reid are famous for it doesn't negate the fact that when Mike Tomlin won the Super Bowl with the Steelers, that was Dick LeBeau's defense. John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl. He didn't call offense or defense. There are examples of guys not, and by the way, there are guys who call the plays who never win anything. And there are guys who don't call the plays who don't win anything either. It's not a 100% has to be this way or that way. You're not paying the head coach for culture, Andrew Summers' point. You're paying him to be in charge of the entire team. You're paying him to oversee the offense, the defense, the special teams, the roster construction. You're paying him for way more than just culture. Sirianni leans on culture because Sirianni is a bit of a tool. And, I think Sirianni's a nice guy, and I think the players like him, and he's sincere, but he's an odd dude. I mean, we forget sometimes that, being weird, being different, the oddities that make us different are sometimes why we're successful. Sirianni, we can make fun of him for the flower analogies and the rock, paper, scissors, but the team was in the Super Bowl just 2 seasons ago. So he can't be totally horrible when it comes to culture. And the reality is that Chip Kelly was horrible at culture, and it completely fell apart, right? You look at guys like, oh my goodness, what was his name? Look at how Dan Snyder negatively impacted the Washington franchise. His culture was so bad that once they got rid of him, everyone rejoiced. I think that culture has to be factored in, but I don't think it's what they're paying him for. Andrew's point. I think they're paying him to run the team, run the offense, run the defense. And I get what you're saying. Look, Doug called the offense, but he had nothing to do with the defense. The defense was Jim Schwartz's world, and he was told to stay out. And that's why they had Dave Phipp running the special teams, because Dave Phipp ran the special teams and Doug stayed out. And maybe if Doug was a little more in touch with the team as a whole, he would have realized how Carson Wentz and Press Taylor were negatively impacting the rest of the locker room. Because the problem is when you're so focused on one side of the ball, you can't see the forest for the trees. Brian Billick was so obsessed with running his offense in Baltimore that he destroyed an entire window. That Baltimore Ravens team should have gone on to win multiple championships. But Brian Billick was so obsessed with finding a quarterback to run his offense that he imploded an entire era of football in Baltimore because of his ego. He was so focused on offense, he couldn't see the forest for the trees. So there's a negative also to asking a coach to run one side of the ball because they don't see the big picture. John Gruden was obsessed with collecting quarterbacks. He forgot that, oh, wait a minute. The Bucs defense is getting old. We should probably draft better and replace some of these guys. You look at what happened, and this is going back even further. You could argue that the reason why, now again, you could argue, all right? You could argue the reason why Mike Shanahan never won a championship after John Elway left was because Shanahan became obsessed with running his offense. that's running scheme, and he didn't have the wherewithal to realize my defense is getting older. I'm not drafting well enough in certain positions. My voice is fatiguing on these guys. These guys are getting tired of hearing me say the same stuff all the time. So I understand that it's a risk to have a head coach that runs the whole team, doesn't call plays. But as we're seeing, Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh, you can win and get deep into the postseason with that kind of coach. It just has to be the right coordinators. Do we, like Adam Kaplan said, he said, do we really believe the Lions will be able to do what they're doing without Ben Johnson next year? Look at what happened to John Harbaugh. They had to fire their offense coordinator midseason to even get on a Super Bowl run. Does Joe Flacco and the Ravens have that magical run if they don't fire their offense coordinator during the season? And then John Harbaugh was in the wilderness. He had a couple losing seasons along the way before they got Lamar Jackson. And they had to fire Greg Roman and bring in Todd Monken, right? They had to go through multiple defensive coordinators. Rex Ryan, Wink Martindale. Now it's McDonald down there. So, you are playing a little roulette, but if you have the right leader at the top of the ladder, at the top of the organization, and he delineates responsibility properly to the people under him, you still have a chance to be successful. All right, coming up the other side, we'll do a flip side over to the NBA. NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson joins me next as we look at the Sixers, the NBA trade deadline, and more coming up here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill, hanging out with you on a happy hour Friday.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. My friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Early bird special, only $49.99, guaranteed. Hypnosis is designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Seminars are 8 p.m. on Thursday, February 15th at the Hampton Inn in Absecon, or 2 p.m. on Saturday, February 17th at the Shore Club in Cape May Courthouse. Registration 30 minutes before seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Hey, is this Line Secure? Franco's cybersecurity firm secured a contract. And that's all we're allowed to say.
We have a green light on hiring.
He needs web security professionals with a military background.
3 teams of 4, 24-hour rotations, but Protocol Zulu is on a need-to-know basis.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Stop the countdown. Don't let the new year pass you by without upgrading your ride. So bring any trade, no matter the make, mileage, or condition. We'll take it, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, and put you into a new Matt Black Kia with low, 0 down payments, 0.9% financing, and 0 down payments until April. And only Matt Black Kia has a 4-day love it or leave it return policy. We know bad things happen to good people. We want to approve you. We finance your future, not your past. Even if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released and into your new Matt Black Kia with 0 down, 0 payments until April on every new Kia in stock.
It's gotta be Matt Black Kia.
With approved credit, not all qualified credit may affect down payment. Offers can be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF at $21.22 per thousand for 48 months. Rebates and incentives to dealer expires 2/2/24. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Harper Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Powered by NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The Flyers extend breakout winger Owen Tippett. This is Danny Ryan with your South Jersey Sports Center. According to multiple reports, the Flyers have agreed to an 8-year, $49.6 million contract extension with breakout right winger Owen Tippett. Tippett, the team's second leading goal scorer with 18 on the season, was acquired by the Flyers back in 2022 when they shipped Claude Giroux to the Florida Panthers. With that being said, the Flyers take a 4-game skid back to Philadelphia for a Saturday matinee matchup with the Boston Bruins. Listen to the game live tomorrow afternoon right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts at 12:30. After losing their 6-game win streak to the Pacers last night on the road, the 76ers stay on the road and travel to Denver, Colorado for a matchup with the Nuggets. Listen live right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts tomorrow at 5:30. For more Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, and Flyers, download our free mobile app. Your forecast is next.
Brought to you by Get Covered New Jersey, the state's official health insurance marketplace.
Well, good afternoon. Hope you've had a great day today with your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. As we head into the evening, it looks like cloudy sky, just a slight chance of a passing shower here and there. Tonight, we could see a return of some fog, cloudy sky, a low 43. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy across South Jersey with a high of 52. And Sunday looks wet. The outlook for Sunday, cloudy sky with rainy conditions. Sunday's high expected to be 46. That's your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. Have a great weekend.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at Chico & Sons in Northfield for just $25.
This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
We have the perfect solution for sitting in traffic.
You come with me.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Of course, Sports Bash being brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on a Friday afternoon. Happy Hour Friday on 97.3 ESPN. 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Check back on the text board also a little bit later this hour. Keep them coming in. What are you guys doing this weekend? 609-403-0973. That is the text board and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. We'll be joined by NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson in just a moment here. I did want to follow up on something we talked about a little bit earlier, and you heard mention of it in the update with Danny Ryan, and that is the Jokic Embiid matchup tomorrow. I think it's very fascinating that for years the accusation about Embiid was that he doesn't want to play Jokic in Denver. He doesn't want to play Jokic at all. And what did he do last time they played? He dominated the game. And so I just have to wonder if Embiid plays tomorrow and he has a big game, does the narrative go away or do people find a new thing to complain about Embiid about? I tend to think it's the latter. I tend to think that people are just going to find things to complain about when it comes to Embiid. This guy is phenomenally talented. This guy is one of the more talented people in the NBA, and yet people just find things to rip him about, to tear him down about. And I just think sometimes we could be a little bit more appreciative and grateful of the greatness we have in front of us. That is Joel Embiid. It's kind of at least how I look at it, at least. I think that, when it comes to sports, sometimes you don't appreciate someone or something until it's gone. And in this situation, Joel Embiid, he's one of the best players on the planet. And I understand he doesn't have rings. He doesn't have championships. The Sixers haven't been to the NBA Finals since Allen Iverson was running up and down the floor in a Sixers uniform over 20 years ago. But I also understand that individuals don't win championships. Teams do. And this very well be the best chance Embiid has had to make that deep run since Jimmy Butler was here. And the difference is that Jimmy Butler was as a catalyst for that team's success. This time round, it's the head coach who's the catalyst for that success. Nick Nurse has done a phenomenal job at putting this team in a position to be successful. And so now it's on Daryl Morey, the head of basketball operations, to work with Elton Brand, the general manager, and make the moves that are going to now elevate this roster from a very good regular season team to a postseason contender. Because right now, if you think the Celtics are the best starting lineup, and if you think the Bucks are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and if you believe the Miami Heat got better recently when they acquired Terry Rozier in that deal with Charlotte, then what you're also going to say is that are the Sixers on the level of those teams? I think it's a fair question. And I think that, when you look at when it comes to things such as who are the best teams, who are you competing against? Look, the Sixers are still third in the Eastern Conference, but the Knicks are coming. They're 2 games behind you. Once Siakam and Halliburton have more than a couple games together, they're going to be a dynamic duo. So you have a situation where you have multiple teams around you that are also putting themselves in a position to be contenders, in a position to be successful. And the question is going to be, what is this team willing to do at the deadline? I know that there's going to be escalating prices, right? There is going to be an inflation, if we were to use that term, of what it's going to take to get a player that's going to improve what we see on the court. And we've heard the names: DeMar DeRozan, Alec Caruso, Bogdanovich, the one in Detroit or the one in Atlanta, right? It's not going to come cheap. It's not going to be as simple as, well, here's some draft picks or here's an expiring contract. It's going to take more. And I think that for the Sixers, you didn't make the James Harden deal to just sit on your hands. You made the Harden deal so you can make the next deal. You acquired all these expiring contracts in order to be able to flip some of them into more. Because it's going to take more if you actually want to win a championship. So for a team like the Sixers, as I said earlier in the show, you saw late last night when that game ended that you have to, and I mean have to, be more than you are. One man who is always more than you expect is my next guest, the one and only Brandon Scoop B Robinson, NBA insider at Scoop B on the Twitter X platform and on Instagram. My friend, welcome into the show. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm so sorry I'm late. Technical issues, but so glad you waited. So glad to talk to you as always. And I hear you ranting and raving about the Sixers. What happened?
Well, my position is, I'll just rehash it like your Reader's Digest style for you. My thing is, last night I saw a team that doesn't have enough. Embiid scores 31 points, but Maxey went cold. And it feels like if this team doesn't have Tobias Harris and Embiid and Maxey firing on all cylinders, they might not be able to win a playoff series.
I think it's interesting because when you look at the Sixers as a team at the beginning of the season, many people thought, okay, well, with Harden not wanting in and leaving, that they would be a mess. But you really look at Maxey and you look at the connectivity with Embiid. They've really been locked in during the season. And I think that in a lot of aspects, Philly has been spoiled with good basketball because it's not just Embiid, it's not just Maxey. You have Tobias Harris, who at crucial points has been hot. You also have DeAnthony Melton, who was a good fill-in, a role player. You also have the tenacity and the toughness of a Patrick Beverly. I think all things under head coach Nick Nurse and the good assistant coaching staff has been good. But then when you don't have Tobias in the lineup last night and others in the lineup, you're frustrated. And I think, in this instance, I understand your frustration, but I also do think that I think they exceeded expectations this season. And I know that with the trade deadline looming, you ask questions. So what are they missing? In my opinion, the thing that they are missing is a slasher, is a swing, someone who is just a dog and can get you those points. And Embiid at the center position has been that. Maxey has been a complementary piece. One thing is missing, and if I'm Philly, I'm trying to figure out how to get that because you have tradable assets.
I'm glad you brought up the tradable assets because that's been one of the things I've been harping on for a while now, which is you didn't get all these assets in the Harden deal to just sit on them. You didn't just say, oh, well, we got a nice team now. No, you brought in these expiring contracts and draft picks for a reason. And I hate describing human beings as trade pieces, but it's the reality of the game, right?
Surely. I mean, you look at the trade that they made with excuse me, I was going to say Cleveland, pardon me, the Los Angeles Clippers. And you do bring in a Robert Covington. You bring in a Kenyon Martin Jr. And then on that bench, you have a Furkan Korkmaz who has requested a trade many times and to no avail, has not been fruitful in making that happen in both Daryl Morey and Elton Brand's office. But I think, yes, you do bring in a team that does have or you bring in players where you get a lot of assets. And if I'm Philadelphia, I'm placing a call to a couple of teams. One, in the Chicago Bulls to see what Arturas wants over in Chicago, whether that's a package of the Covingtons as well as KJ and some of those other pieces. And multiple picks. I think that's, when you have a conversation with a Washington to see, what a Kyle Kuzma conversation would be like. It's been widely reported that in order for that to work, Washington would be looking at, two first-round draft picks, future draft considerations there. So, but I also do think sometimes when you tinker with a lineup, and tinker with things that are what they are at training camp, and then in season or midpoint, you try to go full throttle, you actually do mess up chemistry with certain people. And so I know that, Philly is going to always be Philly and have their frustrations with how things are. I do think that Philly does have a well-oiled machine considering the circumstances, but I still at the same point think they're missing a piece. If I'm Philly, I either look to get something that is concise, as I mentioned, A, or B, you look into the offseason and you gauge the interest of Cleveland and Donovan Mitchell's availability, because if Donovan doesn't resign this summer, there are going to be questions in Cleveland about whether he wants to stay. And then here comes the New York conversation, albeit the Nets or the Knicks, about what his next moves are going to be.
Talk with NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson, the Scoopy Radio podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, at Scoopy on Twitter, X. You mentioned about not messing up the chemistry. Can you get into that a little bit more? Because I feel like we have a society, right, that played NBA Live or NBA 2K, whatever their age group is, right? And they say, well, I made this trade on my video game, or I made this trade on my fantasy football, and it's fine. And it's like, well, that's not real life. Real life people are human beings who are impacted. So you're right. You don't want to uproot a good thing in Philadelphia just to make a trade.
I mean, the most tangible example I can give you of recent years is, everybody thinks around this time of the year that this person and that person is going to the Los Angeles Lakers, hypothetically, right?
right.
So, there were reports that, any iteration of Trey Young or DeJounte Murray or Tyus Jones in Washington, or just a bevy of different people can find their way to Los Angeles. And I said this on Twitter last night. The only way that I think DeJounte Murray, for example, goes to Los Angeles is if you're moving LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and that's not going to happen. But then you look at a team like that. Say you bring in a Zach LaVine, you find a way to move pieces. You'd have to include a third team in order to get that involved. Okay, say hypothetically Zach LaVine were to come to Los Angeles. You got to go through the reps of getting to know people, and it's not just picking up a basketball. It's knowing where people's spots are when you draw the double team. Whether they sit in the corner, whether you're passing over the head, and you kick out for a pull up, or there's a variation of just different things. So I go back to Philadelphia, right? So I made mention of players that could be available, or at the right price. Certain teams will have conversations with certain teams about various things. Say hypothetically, I have to say hypothetically, because people will say Scoop said this. I say hypothetically, the Sixers would have a conversation with Chicago, and it would be a deal centered around a LaVine or a deal centered around a DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine as professionals still would have to learn the idiosyncrasies and quirks of an Embiid, where he likes the basketball. Any iteration of where Tyrese Maxey moves when he's pushing the break. Just all of those different factors that go into it is more than just a name coming to a team. Even in a situation like the Miami Heat some years ago, where you had LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade all in the same team, that's an open gym's dream right there if you're starting a pickup basketball game. But even with their skill sets and their ability to play the way that they did, if you remember in year one, as far as them getting together and making magic happen, they made it to the finals and lost to a Dallas Mavericks who had a chemistry. Everybody thought that came by surprise just because everybody was looking at names. But if you look at that Dallas Mavericks team and who they had, the Sean Marions, the Jason Kidds, the Dirk Nowitzkis, and more, Brendan Haywood, they had a level of consistency and cohesiveness. And a midseason trade doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't. By the way, the Lakers should just acquire Alex Caruso and get it over with. I mean,
but what does that solve?
I mean, it doesn't solve everything, but at least you get somebody who knows the team and knows the environment, right?
Yeah, but then here's my rebuttal to that. Okay, fine. You trade to get Alex Caruso. Who do you give up? Everybody's talking about how D'Angelo Russell should go be in any trade. Have you watched him play basketball the last week? He's playing his ass off.
Listen, I'm not trying to get rid of Russell, but I also know that how people are out there. The fans will say about Russell, yeah, but he didn't play well in the postseason last year. They're trying to paint him into he's like a Peyton Manning in football. He plays good in the regular season, not the postseason.
Yeah, I hear you. I value what you're saying, but that's not how basketball works. Basketball is 82 game regular season and then playoffs. So like you look at the regular season, you're gonna lose some games. Like I think it's easy to point out flaws when you don't know what the defense is giving you the night before. Suppose there's a back-to-back. Suppose hypothetically the Lakers were playing in Philadelphia tonight, and then they had to fly to Minnesota to play a game tomorrow. I remember last month the Timberwolves were in Philadelphia playing the Sixers, and then they left. The guys in Minnesota were telling me, yeah, we're catching a flight to go home back to Minnesota, and then they left Philly that night after playing a game, going to Minnesota, and they played the Lakers the very next night. That's arriving home at 1-2 o'clock in the morning. That's the routine of being in the air. What does that do to your legs and your arms? And then you getting up the next day to go through a routine. Like there's so many other factors that go beyond just wins and losses, but that's what people care about at the end of the day, because that's what sports is. It's about wins and losses, but there are some other varying factors there as well.
Before I let you go, I did want to give you the opportunity to touch on, obviously today is the anniversary when we all got the horrible news that Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi passed away. It was all the way back in 2020. 4 years later, what are your thoughts on Kobe Bryant?
Kobe was always good to me as a journalist. I was around the Lakers organization as a child, having started young, but Also, this is a local show here, so my ties to the main line, having gone to Eastern University, Lower Merion as a hop, skip, and a jump, and really learned about just what Kobe meant to that area and how his influence carried on in the main line. Over the years, have developed relationships with his dad. Spent some time with him in Dallas, Texas, during a basketball exposure program. I also will tell you that you need to be watching out for his nephew, Jet Washington, who's a two-sport athlete in Nevada, and is making strides in that regard. But as far as Kobe goes specifically, I think he's the closest that you'll see to Jordan, the way that he chews his gum, the way that he posts up, the way that he talks. But he found his own niche, his own style. And it was a pleasure to get to know him. It was a pleasure to cover him. And I know that in the era of just comparisons, we often talk about Michael and LeBron, and I don't think that's fair. And Kobe's not here to defend himself, but he should be in that discussion more than he is. And just as a human being, I respected his tenacity and just who he was and his work ethic. I don't think there's many that can compare to that. So I'm sad that he's gone. I remember the day before LeBron broke his record, I was in the Lakers locker room, and the thing that I always hang on to is I heard LeBron say, "Yo, we're not going home tonight. We flying tomorrow." And if the Lakers had left Philly that night to go back to Los Angeles after a long road trip, I'm not sure that LeBron and Kobe would have had that last conversation that they were able to have.
Wow. Absolutely wild. NBA insider Brandon Scoopy Robinson. Scoopy Radio. Check it out on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. At Scoopy on the Twitter X platform. Also Scoopy on Instagram. And for those of you who are not watching on the YouTube side of our video conversation, I see what you got behind you. Carmelo Anthony in one corner, Don Bosco behind you, Sixers, Celtics. You got a nice little array set up back there, my friend.
Yeah, man. I over the years just collecting a lot of stuff. Don Bosco Prep is where I went to high school. That Melo jersey, he personally signed that for me. If you look at the to my right, it's a Kyrie Irving jersey. He signed that for me as well. Just relationships with people that I've built over the years, being able to showcase that in your home setup. So I'm glad to share that with you and your viewers.
I love it. I like seeing what people have behind them in their setups. It's a fun little thing for me. So I'm a little bit of a geek like that. So
and it's all about the collection. There's a Space Jam locker. When I was reporting all that stuff about LeBron and Space Jam, actually on your Family of Networks program and stuff like that, they sent me a box with a bunch of stuff in there. They sent me a LeBron Space Jam jersey. It's a lot of other stuff in this big room, but I'm glad again to share that with you and open up the world to just things that I find interesting. Bunch of books that people have given me over the years. You can see that Kobe and Allen Iverson photo right there from the finals some years ago when the Sixers and the Lakers played and the Lakers ultimately won. So cool to share that moment with you as always.
Absolutely. My friend, appreciate you jumping on. Brandon Scoopy Robinson, NBA insider, joining me here on 97.3 ESPN. Take care, my friend.
Thank you for the opportunity to be myself. I'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour coming up on the other side.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
The beat on the back down against Wembanyama. Powers by him and slams him. He into him and then shot the ball.
It's Sixers Nuggets tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 5:30. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local restaurants.
Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant, family dining with quality seafood at reasonable prices, just over the bridge in Wildwood. Yuri's.net, Sunday Gravy. With over 30 years of experience cooking in various restaurants and cuisines, Sunday Gravy's chef is excited to present his vision of Sunday Gravy to all their guests. Simple, approachable Italian food. They love to cook, eat, and serve. Their caring and committed staff will ensure you have a fantastic experience with them. Molly's Kitchen on Tilton Road in Northfield, offering a delicious assortment of sandwiches, burgers, wraps, and salads. Catering available too. Online at mollyskitchen.restaurant. So many ways to satisfy your appetite at Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant in Wildwood, Sunday Gravy in Linwood, or Molly's Kitchen in Northfield.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not one based on the driver who treats the highway like a racetrack and the shoulder like a passing lane. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first. Voted best of the best in Jersey Shores. For roofing and siding, windows and doors. 24-month financing, no payments, no interest. You're certified GAF elite contractors. Champion-Exteriors.com. Champion Exteriors, Champion, the one you call first.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, we wrap up the hour. Coming up the other side, we'll talk about more about the NFL. Andy McNamara will join me to talk about NFL Championship Sunday. We'll also get back to your text at 609-403-0970. Like Chris from Galloway, he chimed this. I'm going to have a Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. That's not a mouthful. Goose Island, that's the company, for those who don't know, the brewing company. And a Bourbon County Stout. It's a little heavy there. He's rooting for a 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl because he also thinks the Chiefs will take the Steelers to play against the Ravens. And you're not factoring in the Ravens defense, Christopher Galloway. The Ravens defense might come to play too this Sunday. More NFL talk coming up the other side. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN.
This Sunday, Westwood One brings you Championship Sunday. First, it's the AFC title game. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs face Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Then, the Detroit Lions aim for their first ever Super Bowl appearance when they take on the San Francisco 49ers. Doubleheader coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If it's the NFL playoffs, it's right here.
Listen to Championship Weekend on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 2 p.m.
Open enrollment is happening right now, New Jersey. Join the many residents who are getting quality, affordable health coverage through Get Covered New Jersey. If you need health insurance, this is the time to enroll. Get Covered New Jersey offers increased plan choices and more savings than ever. 9 in 10 people get financial help or plans that include preventive care, prescriptions, emergency services, and more. And many pay $10 a month or less. Find your plan at getcovered.nj.gov.
Okay, everyone, gather around. It's time for corny jokes about passing the torch.
The team at Kirian's Welding was fused together solid.
Thanks for all the late nights and early shifts.
But double retirements mean the crew must bond with some certified new hires.
You've both gone the extra millimeter.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Winter is here, and in South Jersey, that means the cold winds are a-blowing. Whether you need a brand new roof or the gusts off the ocean blew off some shingles, Sea Point Roofing and Siding is here to help. Their expert team ensures that you and your home stay warm and dry, but you won't just get a secure roof, you'll get peace of mind. Sea Point Roofing and Siding is South Jersey's premier roofing company where dependability meets excellence. Visit them at seapointroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it.
And now get a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. Find us at straighttalk.com. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only, excludes taxes and fees.
When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Must be 21 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Joe Conklin here, and I'm excited to cheer on the Philadelphia 76ers this season with Parks Casino. Parks Casino, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, is the official local casino partner of the 76ers. That's right. 2 of the best brands in the Philadelphia area are joined together to bring fans what they love most, wins. Remember to tune into 76ers games to get in on the Parks offers for fans. And to see me live at 360 at Parks Casino, visit parkscasino.com for tickets. This is how you win. This is how to win. 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
You have the choice. Whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique, those choices help to put money back into your community. Town Square Media South Jersey proudly puts a spotlight on local businesses.
First Bank of Sea Isle City, Cape May County's community bank. Philly Marble and the Philly Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. Visit phillymarble.com. Jenkins Plumbing and Heating. Call Jenkins for heating and air conditioning installation, service and maintenance, plumbing, or drain cleaning service. 609-641-6440 or jenkinsplumbingandheating.com. The Nizam's Authentic Indian Cuisine. They are waiting to serve you. Dr. Lyle M. Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelylback.com. And J&M Elite Contractors Roofing and Siding. Check out their great reviews at jmelitecontractors.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles,
They've got him! It's a sack!
Sixers,
Oh, baby!
and Flyers. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN app. At Flat Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig Tony from Mike Gill on a Happy Hour Friday, the final hour of the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We got more text to get to this hour. Keep them coming in. What are you guys consuming this weekend? What are you watching? What are you looking forward to? 609-403-0973. Josh from Cape May earlier says I will be enjoying some flowers are still standing from Gusto Brewing soon. So hat tip to Josh and Cape May for that check-in. He had a little bit earlier here on the show for Happy Hour Friday. NFL Championship Sunday is this week. And, of course, you know, I love talking football with my guy, NFL podcast host, Andy McNamara, this podcast. Like, subscribe wherever you get the podcast. Andy, my friend, welcome back in. How are you doing on this fine Friday?
We're doing good, Josh. Doing good, brother. We're almost at the finish line of this NFL season. I really can't believe it. Like it actually.
Now you just ruined the whole.
I know. I was just thinking about it. I'm like, man, it just went by so fast. But we got two, what I hope are super competitive games. Because really, if we look at these playoffs so far, what could we say we're actually like close competitive? Like 2, 3 games total.
Rams, Lions.
Yeah. Bills, Chiefs.
Chiefs, Bills.
Niners, Packers.
Niners, Packers. Right.
Yeah.
3.
But there have been some blood. Like when I'm looking at these ones, I don't think the Lions are getting blown out. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be really. I think you have interesting storylines no matter which combo ends up in the Super Bowl. So that's good.
Well, let's dig into some of these matchups here because you mentioned the Lions. I think they're going to cover this number, whether it's 7 or 7.5. I don't understand why the number is so big. I don't think the Lions. I understand the Lions are missing an offensive lineman, but I don't think it's big enough to offset the fact that the Lions are a good football team.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, the 49ers showed you last week they're vulnerable.
Yes, absolutely. Like you were 2 cross-the-body, ill-advised throws from Jordan Love away from going home, right? Like, but you know what? To their credit, and same with the Chiefs. Bills missed the field goal, and you avoided the tie and you went. Doesn't matter how you win, you just win. But it showed they weren't dominant. And a lot of people were expecting the 49ers to be dominant over the Packers and their mediocre defense overall. It didn't work out that way. What's the key factor we've talked about all season, Josh? It's Deebo Samuel. Now, it's not a fracture in the shoulder. He is going to play, but at what level can he play? And will he stay in the game? Because we saw he goes down in the game. Even with Christian McCaffrey, that whole offense gets discombobulated a little bit.
I think that's why, for example, if someone was wanting to place a wager on this game, I think that if you want to go anytime touchdown in this game, Andy, I think it's Brandon Ayuk. I think Ayuk is going to get some looks here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is a case where they're going to maybe not have a choice but to lean on him to a certain degree, right? And out of the big 3, out of McCaffrey, Deebo we're not touching because of the injury, and McCaffrey and Kittle, I think Ayuk probably has the best payout for it. And really, he's kind of, and sometimes rightfully so, but a lot of the time he is under the radar. He doesn't blow you out of the water all the time, but this guy can pop. So I'm with you there. I like that anytime TD.
How do you feel about that game, the NFC side? Which, by the way, can I just say real quick? And this is a total football geek thing I'm going to say. Yeah. So for the average fan listening on 97.3 ESPN, they're not going to understand you and I having this moment we're going to have. I love the fact that the West Coast game is the later game. Like, I hate this whole, why am I playing a game because I want it at 3:00, but it's on the West Coast? Like, no. Let the West Coast have the later time. Let the East Coast have the earlier time. It's a very simple system.
Yes. From a viewer standpoint, absolutely. And we're East Coasters, so nuts to those West Coasters. Too bad. It's all about us. We're the better markets. Come on. But I'm just glad too. Looks like I'm looking at saying it looks like 69, partly sunny. I don't know about the wind, but at least it doesn't look like it's going to be some. No, that's the main thing. The winds can get crazy there, though. I hope there's not a lot of wind. That's why I know there's football. Like, let me get your thoughts on this, Josh. I know there's the elements, the down and there, the mud, the snow. But then if you have the 2 best teams, you don't get the best results. I would be fine with everything in a dome and seeing the 2 teams at their best. I know the elements can be part of it, whatever, but especially this time of year. When it comes down to it, man, I want to see these 2 best teams. I don't want it decided because someone slips.
See, I like the whole you earned your home field advantage, play at home in the conference championship. I like that. It's like, the Bengals beat Dan Fouts and the Chargers years ago because it was in Cincinnati and they were basically frozen like a popsicle. It was like, it's like, well, if the Chargers want to play in Cincinnati, maybe they should have won more games than the regular season.
That's fair. Mike McDaniel this year, right? Looked like he was just.
By the way, you have any feelings about everyone hates Vic Fangio in Miami, but everybody else loves him everywhere else?
Man, like Vic Fangio is one of those guys. He'll be recycled till he's dead. That's it. He'll keep going forever. That's like Josh. This doesn't surprise me. These guys, they just keep going. He's a competent defensive mind.
You're making me cough up a lung over here with that guy.
He's been good for a long time, but he's also been proven maybe the game's passed him by. They're just these recycled guys. Like, again, in our next lives, we should be so lucky to be friends of a NFL coach and just get recycled jobs forever. My God. I saw Vic Fangio. I'm like, okay, fine. Like,
but I will say that he has been successful as a defensive coordinator.
Yes,
but
for
even
sure.
last year in Miami, guess what? They were injured horribly at the end of the season, and they still allowed less points than the Eagles did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's stats. Look it up. It's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, what do you make of the increasing likelihood of Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, and Pete Carroll not coaching next year?
Dude,
That's
I don't
wild.
even know what to think of that. Like, first
Right?
of all, like I understand Pete Carroll because maybe Pete's like,
Yeah.
I'll just take a year off. I'm not pursuing any of these jobs,
Yeah.
But the fact that Belichick is that close to Shula's record and like nobody wants to hire him, like
Only interviewed with Atlanta. That's what's what. Now, my thinking was, though, is Belichick getting interviewed or was he interviewing the Falcons? Was he being picky to a degree?
No, I think the Falcons were interviewing him because they interviewed 14 people for that
Yeah,
job.
they did.
So, so here, I gave this theory yesterday. It got shot down. I'll give it to you in the audience here on Happy Hour Friday. I'm Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill alongside Andy McNamara here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See, by the way, Shader and EHT loved it, Andy, when you said about the better markets. He says, preach, better markets adjust the times.
That's right. That's right. You get it.
But back to my point, my position with Belichick is, are some of these teams looking at him and saying, you might be a great coach, but you're horrible at hiring the right coordinators? Because think about it. He's only had success with two coordinators on offense, Charlie Weiss and Josh McDaniel. So
on offense, yeah.
And then, because it doesn't matter on the defense, he's basically calling, it's his defense. He's calling the defense.
Right.
He's had a million D guys, Romeo Crennel, Gerard Mayo, Matt Patricia. Everyone and their cousin has been in and out of that defensive side, right? Brian Flores,
Sure.
But but offense, is there a part of these teams that say, I don't know if I want to give you a young quarterback?
Well, you look at the most recent example. And look, I dumped all over that Mac Jones draft pick at the time. Like, Josh, we've talked about it. I can find you a Mac Jones every year in the third round. Every year a Mac Jones. Not a problem. And they spent a first-round pick.
Yeah, his name is Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Oh, nice Pittsburgh dig, brother. I love it. That's right. Yeah, you can find those guys all the time. So, but Belichick had to sign off on it. I wonder, in interviewing in Atlanta and maybe getting the word out to other people, does he want or expect full control like he had with the Patriots? His draft record is terrible. His free agent list is terrible, especially on offense. And like you said, young quarterback, well, his first shot at one didn't go too well. So I think that's a very real thing.
Here's another question for you. Does Belichick go in the TV?
You know what? When the very odd time, I think it was like NFL 100. Remember he was doing
the NFL 100. Yes. You remember
super insightful. Like, you're like, man. And from guys, when he was first in Cleveland as a head coach, reporters I talked to, like Tony Grossi on sister ESPN station in Cleveland, he said, if the rare time, if you can get Belichick just talking, they said, ask Belichick about like tight ends. Like, he is super insightful and very engaging in the right environment. I would be really interested to see on TV. And what type of role? Is he one of four panelist guys to chime in? I don't think he'd be a color guy. I think in the right atmosphere, he could be really fascinating. But you said it. That guy's 15 wins away from the all-time record. If I'm Bill Belichick, I'm thinking, look, you have two decent seasons, you got the record. But you're 72.
But guess what? You go on the TV, you rehabilitate your image, right?
Right.
You use that television platform, whatever network you want to go to, ESPN, CBS, Fox. Fox's set's getting too crowded anyway. So I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with that. But like wherever he goes, it's like, give him TV for a year, let him, be seen in a different light, and then then he goes back. Because you know what? You know who's on an expiring contract? Mike McCarthy, right, in Dallas. What if Nick Sirianni falls on his face this year in Philadelphia?
What about
right?
Sean McDermott in Buffalo?
Sean McDermott in Buffalo. I mean, Robert Saleh with the Jets. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Do you think would that be possible? No way. Do you think? That'd be
I
wild.
don't think it'll happen, but I'm just throwing out.
That'd be wild.
But Brian, I mean, how about the Giants? Remember the rumor years ago you go back to the Giants? Well, what if Dayball doesn't work out next year? What if he's a flash in the pan? Do they?
It's a perfect year for Dayball.
The Mara family still is friendly with Belichick. They could always call him and be like, "Come save us."
And wouldn't that be kind of a full circle with him and the Parcells, right? And the defense and the Super Bowls. That'd be interesting. Yeah, maybe it's just this hiring cycle because I believe what are the only 2 jobs left? Washington and Seattle, right?
Correct.
Doesn't seem like there's any.
Seattle ain't taking him. Seattle ain't on one of the old man.
No, and I don't think. Yeah, they had like a young, vibrant old man, and he's gone. They don't want an old man. But like Washington, I thought on paper at the beginning during the year might have been an option because it's a foundation team, but it just doesn't seem like ownership. I think they want fresh face guy. Like all the coaches being hired outside of Harbaugh are young guys, So if it's not Washington, then it's nobody. And so then he might have to go TV. I agree though. He goes on TV. They can be a little more jovial, a little more personal. Like he's got a dry sense of humor, make him more likable. It's kind of like trying to like dress up the Grinch a little, it's like, okay, let's make it look like you're a person and not angry all the time. And you know what I would love though? I'd love for him to like interview a coach or something and someone just Belichick him, like just dump him. Wouldn't that be great? Just stick it back for the media.
You know what? I mean, it'd even be good. Like if they had like a version of the Manning cast with him and like Saban, on like a primetime game. Like I would watch that over like Sunday Night Football, NBC, the alternate telecast on Peacock would be like Belichick, Saban sitting in a room and just watching and commentating the game.
I feel though with those two, like the Mannings are very personable. Like I feel you need like either someone with a stick to prod them or like a conductor, a little host on the side to keep it going. Otherwise, they just sit there grunting at each other.
Well, I mean, did you ever see the Belichick Saban doc where they were together?
Was it the Cleveland one? No,
they did. There was a couple years ago.
Oh, I don't think so. No,
I gotta look up the name. Saban and they did this sit down, like just them together, just talking football.
Oh wow!
And it was incredible. Here it is. The HBO, The Art of Coaching.
You know what? I'm gonna make a note on that.
It's on Amazon Prime apparently right now. So
The Art of Coaching.
Yeah,
okay,
it might be on Max. I'm not sure, but it basically. It's them sitting down and talking like football history and like their careers. And like, it's like an hour of just like, you can't stop watching. You're like, oh my gosh, these guys are actually talking.
Yeah. And they're savants, right? And especially Belichick, right. the history. That's why if anyone says that this record isn't important to him, they're incorrect because
it's everything.
It is. He loved Paul Brown. Paul Brown was his hero. Okay. He wants that record. He wants to be like, you could say he's the best already, but he doesn't have that record. He loves those bedrock, right? Like that would give him at least a little bump up. He is very aware of history. And I think he desperately wants his place in it. But if it's not this year, and Josh too, like, all right, you're 71, 72. That's a year off. You're 73. So, you can have vibrant. We have your presidential candidates who are, older than that doing stuff. Different topic.
Oh my goodness! I mean, it's going to be the beyond the old people's home. This election cycle.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
So like for Belichick, but my point is, you're kind of running out of time to a degree, right? Like you don't got 20 years to get this thing. So I wonder, very, very interesting how that would play out.
Talk with Andy McNamara from the Sick Podcast at AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform. Josh Hennig hanging out with you, filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Speaking of all-time coaches, Andy Reid ain't that far behind, right now in the all-time win. I believe that 296 is the number that he is at. And listen, if Andy gets back to a Super Bowl this year and wins another ring, he might be in that conversation to say, maybe should he be ahead of Belichick in the all-time conversation?
Boy, because that would give him 3, right? Titles? I think so, right?
Check. Either 3 or 4.
Because this would be 3 with the Chiefs. Yeah.
Right.
This would be his 3rd. Okay. So he'd have that. I'd still, I think to match Belichick, you got to hit the Super Bowl championship stuff. I think you either got to get the all-time wins or get the Super Bowl championships. That's otherwise, because it's just such a crazy feat to win that many.
So here's the deal. Andy has 296 regular and postseason combined wins.
Okay.
He has 24 postseason wins, 258 regular season. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings, 6 straight AFC championship appearances.
Yeah. Yeah. And then his Eagle resume as well, right?
That's 5 NFC championships in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So you pop that on the conference championship. I think he's definitely got to be in the conversation in that top 3, but he's 65. How much longer does he want to keep going? If you go, if he did it another decade, I don't know. I don't know if he has it in him, but if he goes another 5.
That's the crazy part. There's a rumor right now that he might retire after this year.
And that just depends on, and this is the part we don't know. What is legacy to some people? For Belichick, it's everything. For Andy Reid, he kind of seems like the guy like, boy, that was a heck of a run. Cool. I'm gonna go eat margaritas in Tommy Bahama shirt. Thanks. Exactly. It doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's got all the money. It's okay. So you're not considered the greatest of all. Oh, well, you're still pretty darn successful. But that depends what is important. And that's what goes to the Belichick. I'm a bit more surprised maybe because Vrabel isn't in that old man category, that Vrabel isn't somewhere, and maybe a Washington, maybe a Seattle he talks. I don't know. But it just seems, Josh, again, the trend of like offensive-minded younger guys, that's what teams want.
But 2 of the coaches on NFL Championship Sunday are not game callers. Harbaugh and Campbell are organizational managers. They have the coordinators calling the plays. So it's like there's a literal in the team. Nick Sirianni was in the Super Bowl last year. That's 3 guys right there. They don't call plays. People ask the question here in Philadelphia, what does Sirianni even do? And then Sirianni gives the buffoonery. I'm in charge of culture, because Sirianni is such a dork.
What is it that you do here?
Right, but like the point is that guess what? Those coaches are successful. So why not hire a Vrabel?
Like that, if you want a team if you need that toughness, that no nonsense culture to put in, I think I think he'd be a great fit in so many different places, as long as he gets the right offensive mind to go along with him. That's always the challenge, right? You bring in someone like that. Okay, who's the star to make your offense pop if it's not you?
Right. And then that's the situation going on in Philadelphia right now. That's what John Harbaugh went through for years. I mean, Harbaugh's been through more offensive coordinators than anybody, until he got Mike Roman and now Todd Monken. They fired the offensive coordinator the year he won the Super Bowl mid-season.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It was Cam Cameron. They fired him, and then Jim Caldwell took over.
Caldwell, jeez. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. No, you're right. There's so many different ways. It also depends, I think, on the state of the team. Seattle's, they're like Geno Smith had the flash, and he's come back down to, I think, what he probably is. Does anyone really think Seattle right now is a threat? No, but they're in decent shape. Washington's weird because they got rid of their 2 best defensive players. Sam Howell, nice story. Is he your franchise guy? I don't think so. Full, long term, nice season. So it really depends. Yeah, who is it? It might end up just being like, okay, first time coordinator guy, and those are always a roll of the dice because there's nothing to hang your hat on.
All right, before I let you go, what's your take on Chiefs Ravens on Sunday?
Oh, this is with the Chiefs winning in Buffalo. Again, I don't care if it was a missed field goal, whatever, they won. They got it done. That question of can they win on the road. They've had it easy. And I was pounding the table on that too. He's never had any adversity in the playoffs when it comes to location. Well, you went into Buffalo and you got it done. Okay. I think more pressure's on the Baltimore Ravens here. This is Lamar Jackson's first to everybody, the number 1 seed. Chiefs have been there. They've done it. Now, Harbaugh's got to the dance and won before, but Lamar Jackson hasn't. Mahomes knows how to do it. Reed knows how to do it. I think the Chiefs pull this one out. And I think, Josh, the key in this game on offense is not going to be a Travis Kelce or a Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to be rainy, apparently. I think Isaiah Pacheco is the difference maker here. I think Isaiah Pacheco.
Another touchdown for Pacheco here?
I would take an anytime touchdown, and I like this one, to rush over 90 yards plus 290.
That's interesting. That's an interesting number.
So he's rushed over 90 yards in 4 games this year, and 2 others he had 89.
All right.
So if you put games through, and again, so here's the thing, and I heard people, well, Ravens defense is real good. Well, so is the Chiefs, but Ravens defense is real good. They'll shut Pacheco down. Okay, you want to sell up for the run? Cool. Patrick Mahomes will destroy you. So you can't sell up for the run. And that's where I think that balance really comes in. So to me, I think Pacheco is that wild card factor that when we look back at this game and if the Chiefs win, we're like, you know what? He had a couple key moments.
Pacheco anytime touchdown and under 44.5. I like those two.
Under 44. Yeah, under 44. And I'm doing that rushing over 90 yards at plus 290. I'm doing that. I want a bit of that. Maybe that's, maybe we do a little triple there. Anytime double Pacheco and an under 44.5.
Andy McNamara, plug your show, my friend.
Well, we got a great one up right now. And if you are a wrestling fan, I'm wearing my All Elite Wrestling shirt. I have Daddy Magic Matt Menard, who is a huge Chiefs fan. And we had Daddy Magic's Magic Picks of the Week. So the show is up now on YouTube, The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, on Twitter, X, at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, and Instagram, at AndyMC Sports. So we have a lot of fun on the wrestling side. Talk a bit of wrestling, but we go through, do prop plays, bets, winners, losers, all that type of thing with Matt Menard. Josh, this guy, for the listeners who don't know, he is a walking gimmick. He is like what you'd picture a pro wrestler talking about. He's phenomenal. I love the guy. Lots of fun.
Speaking of wrestling, do you have a pick for Royal Rumble?
Boy, you know what? I don't want to be lazy with. I just think they'll give it to CM Punk. Right? Like I don't want. Like I'm sick of CM Punk. I don't like CM Punk. I think he did AEW dirty. I'm tired of him. I think he's annoying and whiny. But it seems like that's the storyline. You want him versus Seth Rollins, right? I think that's the kind of the deal.
So here's my theory, because I didn't know this was going to be a topic today, but I had multiple people texting in our text board today at 609-403-0973 throughout the afternoon asking me, Royal Rumble, who you picking? And I was like, I didn't even know it was but here we are. We're talking.
Wow.
So here's my theory. I think the final 3 at Royal Rumble, it's going to be The Rock, CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes. I think it's going to be a 3-man stare down because, they're building that Rhodes Punk, war right now, right?
Right.
So I think one of them is going to partner with The Rock to get rid of the other. And then it's going to be Rock versus the guy left over for Royal Rumble. And then they're going to use that quote unquote new alliance, right? Between whoever The Rock partners with for the 2-man showdown to be his supporting cast for when he goes mano a mano with Roman Reigns,
right?
Building up the WrestleMania, because it's gonna be you mentioned Punk versus Rollins, that'll be WrestleMania, and then it'll be Rock versus Roman, for WrestleMania, and then it'll be Cody versus somebody else. They're gonna have some crazy thing with him that he's gonna be for example, if it's CM Punk and Rock versus Roman and the Tribe, you know what I mean?
Right.
I could totally see that going down. And then it's Rollins is well, I hate Punk, so I'm going to help Reigns. And this massive buildup, you know what I mean?
Tie it together. I wonder too, Cody Rhodes came back to, it's to finish his story, win the title his dad never got a chance at. And we know how WWE goes over the years, Josh. Sometimes you come back and they promise you stuff and then you fall away. This WrestleMania season will be interesting because I think there's a real possibility. I don't know what his contract is, but If he doesn't get the title, I think he comes back to AEW at some point where he helped found it. And
what if it's Cody and The Rock work together? They get Punk out of the ring at Royal Rumble, and then it's Rock and Cody. Cody wins WrestleMania, and then Cody fights at WrestleMania for the title, and then Reigns somewhere along the way loses the title for some dumb reason.
Right, which is getting to ridiculous stature, right? Like they better, like, this payoff of him losing. Like, I don't know who should take it, but it's on the level now to me of the Undertaker streak, Josh. It's got to be, and with the Undertaker, it was looking back, it was kind of cool. Brock did it, and everyone was just so shocked. But you have a chance to, whoever does it, you are a king maker. You make that guy forever if you do it right. And WWE often does it not right, but we'll see if they can get that boy.
We know Vince ain't in charge anymore.
Oh, good Lord!
Right?
Oh
so I mean,
gosh, no, thank goodness. Holy cow.
my working assumption that Triple H and Khan, they're probably coming up with some strategies.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? We have to start maybe getting our minds out of the old way that it was always done and see what Triple H has done. Yeah.
If the man who unseats Roman is Cody Rhodes.
Oh, wow.
What does that do to the narrative? You know what I mean?
That, you know what? If that does it, what that does is I think it ends any remaining narrative of Triple H being, bitter or cliquey or whatever, or trying to hold guys down who've done him wrong in the past. I think it tears down any walls for anyone to think, oh, I'm coming in, I'm not a WWE guy, so I'm not going to succeed. Or I left and I came back and they're going to hose me like before. You do that, that wipes all that out. I think that is a game changer.
But doesn't Punk fall in that conversation too?
Yeah, but I really hope he doesn't. That guy bugs me.
No, but taking away your personal bias. Right?
Yeah. Like, you know what? The thing is, too, though, like, Punk was a champ. He came back. I bet you that guy, I don't think he's wrestled yet. That guy, you look at him too hard nowadays, he's getting injured. I bet you something derails it in that sense.
Well, that's why I'm wondering. It's like if you give it to Cody, like if it's Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
And it's Rock, Cody, and Punk. But then Rock and Cody team up and get Punk out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brody wins Royal Rumble. And, The Rock, then him and Cody are like a partnership. And Rock does the whole, like, I knew your dad, my family. Family real. The Rock's all about family. And then it all becomes, The Rock and the Rhodes, they build a family. And it's like the rival to the tribe.
That's their lineage. That's sort of that generation. Oh, that's good.
Right.
I could get on board with that.
They should hire me to do
We're booking here, man. I like that. That would make sense. That make more sense.
I'm available. Triple H likes the Sixers.
Come on, Trips. Yeah, like CM Punk's always better as a loner guy anyway, right? He's always good. He doesn't, I know he was whatever the group way back. What was it called? With the armband, not NXT. Was the thing, what I'm talking about?
Because it was him, Seth Rollins, and
they had the big guy too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? It was the
Shield.
No. Shield was Ambrose / Moxley and Reigns. Punk was with, I forget. It doesn't matter. But he was with a group one time and it didn't quite fit. He's better as a lone wolf guy, conspiracy theory nut type of deal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for Punk, I feel like I think that he's going to probably evolve at some point into like just almost a purely Mike guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like kind of his, one of his heroes was Roddy Piper. And what did Piper do so well? Now, he has more in-ring ability than Piper did. Right. But at this point in his career, does he?
But what he could do is maybe he could just be like a every once in a while guy. He can be the guy who, like, he doesn't wrestle, but he's on all the shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he like works with, like, he becomes like oh my God, I know you mentioned Piper, but I'm thinking of somebody else.
Jesse Ventura, Jesse the Body.
No, but like maybe a little, like, basically a guy who like
Macho Man for a bit was like that near the end of WWE. A little bit. He was on the mic.
I see the guy on my mind. The guy who had the feud with Bobby Lashley a couple of years ago because he tried to make himself like he was a kingmaker on Raw. He always wore the nice suits.
Not Andrade. No, I don't know.
No, well, but he feuded with Andrade too. He feuded with everybody for a while.
Yeah.
But he always wore the nice suit and like he could still wrestle, but he like tried to present himself like I'm a manager now.
I'm drawing a blank.
Bald head.
Not Triple H. He's got a bald head now. I can see Punk on the mic though. I can see Punk on commentary.
He could be like the guy who like. Because I was champ, I am going to pick the guy.
Right. Yeah, kind of elevate himself. I wouldn't mind him on commentary though. I think eventually on commentary he could be. I think he'd be real good. I think he'd be real good because he's done spots before. I think he'd be good at it.
All right, I gotta let you go. I'm late for a break.
Okay. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
At Andy MC81, the Sick Podcast. Like, subscribe, watch it on YouTube. Take care, my friend. Andy McNamara. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. There you go. For all the people who were texting in the text board asking for wrestling talk earlier, we gave you way more than we should have here on a happy hour Friday. I feel like I need a drink after how much time we spent on that conversation. Josh Hennig filling it for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at Chico & Sons in Northfield for just $25.
This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com. Jim Gaffigan here with some more straight talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it.
And now get a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. Find us at straighttalk.com. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only. Excludes taxes and fees.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers, excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
It's a new year everywhere, but at Bennett Chevrolet, some things don't change because there's still no beating Bennett. That's right. Bennett Chevy kicks off 2024 just like every other year with the best deals anywhere on new and pre-owned vehicles. You still pay what our GM supplier employees pay, not a penny more. Plus, you keep all the rebates. Unlike many dealers that give you either or, Bennett gives you both. The GM supplier employee price plus all the rebates. And you save even more with Bennett's available 1.9% financing. Looking for used? Get an astounding $8,000 minimum for any old clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $8,000 for total junk. So imagine how much Bennett pays for a good trade. And Bennett still offers the best buying experience in the business with a sales team paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Imagine that. Salespeople with your best interest in mind. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If you're making the minimum payments, but your balance is just not going down, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it will take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 5 million people. They can consolidate your debts into one lower payment, reduce your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. If you're struggling with credit card debt, call Consolidated Credit now.
Call now, 800-552-6750. That's 800-552-6750. 800-552-6750.
Consolidated Credit Counseling Services Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Not a loan company licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 19, Oregon DM 80031. Licensed by Virginia State Corporation. Commission licensed number DC 32. Establishment of a plan may adversely affect the individual's credit rating or credit scores. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase financial charges or collections activity, including litigation.
Hi, this is Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. If you've been having issues with your roof from all the rain over the last few weeks, or if you're just worried about about leaks from upcoming storms this winter, give us a call. We can be at your house within 24 to 48 hours for an estimate and install a new roof within 1 to 7 business days. We also do emergency tarping and repairs, as well as siding and gutters.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at ApexEastRoofing.com.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more straight talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it.
And now get a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. Find us at straighttalk.com. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only, excludes taxes and fees.
Nurture NJ. Go to nj.gov/connecting NJ.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The Flyers extend breakout winger Owen Tippett. This is Danny Ryan with your South Jersey Sports Center. According to multiple reports, the Flyers have agreed to an 8-year, $49.6 million contract extension with breakout right winger Owen Tippett. Tippett, the team's second leading goal scorer with 18 on the season, was acquired by the Flyers back in 2022 when they shipped Claude Giroux to the Florida Panthers. With that being said, the Flyers take a 4-game skid back to Philadelphia for a Saturday matinee matchup with the Boston Bruins. Listen to the game live tomorrow afternoon, right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts at 12:30. After losing their 6-game win streak to the Pacers last night on the road, the 76ers stay on the road and travel to Denver, Colorado for a matchup with the Nuggets. Listen live right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage starts tomorrow at 5:30. For more Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, and Flyers, download our free mobile app. Your forecast is next.
Want healthier relationships, healthier gatherings, healthier workouts? Stay up to date on your flu and COVID shots. Getting vaccinated makes everything you do healthier. Learn more at nj.gov/health/vaccines.
Well, good afternoon. Hope you've had a great day today with your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. As we head into the evening, it looks like cloudy sky, just a slight chance of a passing shower here and there. Tonight, we could see a return of some fog, cloudy sky, a low 43. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy across South Jersey with a high of 52. And Sunday looks wet. The outlook for Sunday, cloudy sky with rainy conditions. Sunday's high expected to be 46. That's your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. Have a great weekend.
This is an important safety message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
I'm Colonel Callahan of the New Jersey State Police. Last year, over 25% of traffic fatalities were related to alcohol or drug impairment, a staggering statistic. When you choose to drive under the influence, you're risking it all. Make the right choice. We are all counting on you.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here, affiliate for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget the Sports Bash being brought to you by the Gallery Bar Booking Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Go to the Gallery, go to Ocean, go for the win. For more info, visit theoceanac.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Mike Gill will be back on Monday when they are at the Gallery Bar Booking Games. Him, Ryan Rothstein, and Danny Ryan at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City for Monday's edition of the Sports Bash. We'll grab in some more text before we wrap up the hour. A couple short conversations here on game. No game night tonight, okay, on 97.3 ESPN. We'll have a best of a couple of the interviews from today's Sports Bash. And I'll be back in my normal time slot on Monday here on 97.3 ESPN. A couple of thoughts I wanted to hit on because, we were all over the place, me and Andy. And, one of the things we were touching on was the future of coaching. And I got to tell you guys, I genuinely think that the Eagles are doing the right thing, at least right now. But this Belichick thing is going to hang like a dark cloud over the entire NFL this upcoming season. Because what's going to happen is the further away we get from Belichick actually coaching to actually having for example, teams be like, well, wait a minute. What is going on here? Think about this. The more time that goes between Belichick having actually coached, people seeing him, and then people seeing the NFL without him, there are going to be people who come along who are going to be like, you know what? My team, my organization, my coach, they're not as good as Belichick. I need Bill Belichick. And that's my concern with the Eagles right now. Nick Sirianni has to get this thing right, or he is going to be gone. And whether it's the offensive coordinator that they hire is going to be the next head coach, whether it's, the Eagles going to an offseason trying to go with Bill Belichick, whoever it is, whatever the scenario is, there's going to be a dark cloud where every NFL team is going to have that question. Should my team fire my guy for that guy? Because you are literally talking about an entire hiring cycle with Bill Belichick, who's that close, so close to that record. And as me and Andy talked about, he wants it bad. And there's a lot of teams that are going to want to look at him for a variety of reasons. Jeffrey Lurie is from New England. He grew up a Patriots fan. He has always had a good relationship with Robert Kraft and the Patriots organization. There is an admiration society between Howie Roseman and Bill Belichick. That's one team right there. Cowboys. They would love to say that Belichick broke the all-time record with their guy there, right? With Belichick in the house, in the building, with the star. They can put the big banner up that says Belichick won his final games here. Like, they can make a whole thing out of it. Or look at a team that's got a lot of history. For example, Buffalo Bills never won a Super Bowl. What if Belichick goes to Buffalo and wins them a championship? What kind of history would that be? Or he goes back to the Giants. Brian Daboll falls apart in New York. Belichick comes in on a white horse and saves the day. There's all kinds of scenarios that could come from this. So I think Belichick not getting a head coaching job might be the worst thing possible for all of these teams in the NFL. Because you got coaches like Sirianni and Mike McCarthy and others. They're going to have a lot of eyeballs on them. You just got to wonder. The ghost of Belichick past could haunt them this season. All right, we'll check back on the text board. I want to get back to Shaner and EHT. He texted more than what I read earlier, so I want to give him the full read there. So I'll get to him and, of course, a couple others. Andrew in Summers Point, he has a comment on the Sixers, so I'll get to him. Also others. One more round of text, 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday. Had some very interesting, I've got not one but two Gusto recommendations today. I've got not one but two Cape May Brewing recommendations today. I've got a Goose Island recommendation today. That's a very interesting recommendation. A Bud Light, a Miller Lite. You guys are everywhere today. I like the variety. Variety is the spice of life. So we'll get to more of your texts coming up on the other side. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash. Happy Hour Friday, 97.3 ESPN.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow afternoon on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedor bring you all the exciting play-by-play action. It's Flyers Brewing tomorrow afternoon. Coverage begins at 12:30. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey, 97.3 ESPN.
I hate free money and finishing first. Said no one ever. At Raceway Kia, you'll finish first with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 90 days. And right now, you can lease a rugged new 2023 Kia Sorento for only $199 a month. Stop by Raceway Kia today or visit online at racewaykia.com. That's 13124 OAC with KMF. 3 years, 30,000 miles for $49.95 to its signing. Tax, title, license, and fees extra. Security deposit waived. Stock number PG248651.
As the world keeps changing, so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn more about a COVID-19 vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, this is Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. If you've been having issues with your roof from all the rain over the last few weeks, or if you're just worried about leaks from upcoming storms this winter, give us a call. We can be at your house within 24 to 48 hours for an estimate and install a new roof within 1 to 7 business days. We also do emergency tarping and repairs, as well as siding and gutters.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at ApexEastRoofing.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on Carol. She's more focused on hitting a high note than the car in front of her. I pay a rate based on anyone else. Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the confidence and underdogs covering, the tension before a clutch turnover, and the pride of a parlay paying off. It's another chance to win big with all-day action. Plus, win your first $10 bet and get $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
21 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Joe Conklin from Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks Casino, and I'm psyched to cheer on the Philadelphia 76ers this season with Parks, the official local casino partner of the 76ers. Parks Casino is #1 with the hottest live tables and slots, great dining and bars, and the best live entertainment in the region. Need a fun and exciting game day destination? Get into Parks to watch your favorite teams at the Liberty Bell Gastropub or the Beer Garden. Visit parkscasino.com. This is how you win.
This is how you
You want to roll for gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local restaurants.
Beach Buns Bakery in Northfield. Fresh and delicious baked goods. Online at beachbunsbakerynj.com. Trio North Wildwood. Chef-driven, quality-focused, bridging the gap between bar food and fine dining. TrioNW.com. The 20s Italian restaurant at their store at Claridge, Atlantic City. Visit Claridge.com. Jester's Dive Bar, celebrating their 1-year anniversary. You have to check out Jester's in Rio Grande, where you will enjoy handcrafted selection of shareable plates, including burgers, wings, sandwiches, and daily specials. Watch your favorite NFL team on plenty of HD TVs. Check their website at Jester'sDiveBar.com for their full schedule of live music.
Thank you for supporting these great local restaurants from Town Square Media, South Jersey.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, let's wrap up the show here, Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See, don't forget, Sports Bash has been brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Broadlee's is your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907 or visit them online at broadlees.net. Jamie and Kate May chimes in and says, I got to say, Dogfish Head 90-minute will do just fine. with 3 thumbs up and a peace sign. We got all kinds of emojis going on here from Jamie and Kate May. Jamie, thanks for the text. Dogfish Head always makes a good brew, so I definitely can rock with that. Shaner and EHC, the full text he said earlier, because he agreed with Andy McNamara on the time. He says, better markets adjust to times. He also says Biggie is better than West Coast rap. That's probably going to offend some people. Shaner says at least finishing like bums will give us some 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. games next year. I hate prime time. That's from Shaner and EHT. Shaner, if I had $1 for every person who told me that they hate the Eagles not at 1 p.m. this year, I would be able to pay probably half my bills. I mean, that's how many people who were just constantly saying, I can't stand there's no 1 p.m. games. It stinks there's no 1 p.m. games. It's so frustrating. You're right. The Eagles will not be a primetime juggernaut next year. At least start the season. Andrew Summers Point says, I say we sit the Sixers and wait till Harris's contract comes off and then use that salary cap and move the Sixers roster around from there. The problem is, Andrew, by that point, you might have wasted a season of Embiid, and then who knows what the future is. Remember, the Portland Trailblazers won a championship when Bill Walton was healthy. All the years he wasn't healthy, they didn't do anything. Sixers might be in the same boat. All right. What a crazy show it was today. Thanks to Mike McGarry, Chris Franklin, Adam Kaplan, Brandon Scoopy Robinson, Andy McNamara. And thank you to all of you texting in throughout the day on the text board. I'm Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Dave Clemick, and producer Nikki Earnshaw join me in the studio. We will kickstart the show off with 13-year NFL veteran and speedster Eddie Kennison. Hour 2, it's the sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan, live from Las Vegas with his unique look at betting this weekend's action. Eagles, Sixers, Flyers talk and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.